Yeah, so last week we missed an episode.
Apologies.
Yeah, I hope all didn't miss us too much.
Well, you know, your virgin started put some big stone behind me.
Yeah.
Hey, man, put we up on social media and thing too, right?
Yeah.
Everybody know we slacking out there. But anyway, we back at it. I have some, I address some things he said as well.
All right.
I don't make it sound like it's rap.
Right.
But just, there was I want to clarify a few things.
All right, cool.
Right? And we're also going to touch on something. I mean, it was in my mind to talk about, and if we had the show last week, I would have mentioned it. I probably would have let it slide this week. But, when you get a request from the fellow podcasting, of a fellow podcaster.
Right.
When they say they're looking forward to hearing what we had to say about something, we got to touch it.
You got to touch it. All right, no problem. Yeah, so last week we had SCA. I was putting some little extra hours with the youth. Yeah, I assisted out to...
I'm not going to say you deny SCA, right?
Yeah, nah. You understand? Sometimes I wish I could go back to that age, yes, boy. I wish I could go back to that age and have to do SCA and then again, boy, though.
Let your life be taken care of by somebody else.
Yeah, boy, yeah.
No worries.
Yeah.
Just adulting.
Right? But the thing is, you as a man do common insurance, right?
Yeah.
You have one child who did SCA.
Correct.
Right? Where you feel you prefer the common insurance style or you prefer the SCA style?
I don't really, in terms of the exam itself.
Yeah, because what common insurance was multiple choice.
It was only multiple choice except for the SCA.
For the SCA part, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think multiple choice. I mean, people always say multiple choice exams are easier because the answer's right in front of your face. But I think that the ability to kind of... The thing that makes multiple choice exams a bit tougher is that you can't fluke marks.
Right?
You can't just be given marks for
working.
Why
the hell did I forget to put our phone on silent again? And why the hell...
Bad boy ringtone.
Yeah, and why these people just want to call me? Look at the time of night, it's after 10, dog. Where's this boy, dog, boy?
They're trying to get in trouble.
You understand?
Yeah, these hoes are words people call
it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I don't know. I think multiple choice exams are tougher because it's either right or wrong, right? Yeah, you could guess, but you either get the answer correct or you don't. You can't fluff marks like
right. Yeah, you get exam marks of working and
and I could get the idea that you was going in the right direction, so I just get the mark. You can't do that. I never really felt it was. I never looked at it too deeply in terms of whether I would have preferred for it to do common entrance or SCA or anything. I think the thing that people have been arguing about is continual assessment.
Right.
And finding a way to make that a more integral part in deciding who gets into secondary school and
which secondary school, right?
So that's the only thing I think will make a big change in the...
Well, the thing is, right, I was having that conversation obviously with a lot of people recently, and a lot of people, there's too much pressure on each children at this age, and blah, 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 blah. And they think they should get rid of that. I keep asking people, what you're replacing it with? Obviously, some people trying to say the American system. I was like, nah, that. Then how that works against a child coming from I don't want to say impoverished, that might sound bad.
Disadvantage.
A disadvantaged community is because if you have to stick to your community to go to school.
I mean, if you're being zoned.
Like how it is in the American system, you're really kind of supposed to stay.
I mean, that's how it is here, though. If you don't pass for your first choice.
Well, yeah, but you still have that option. You still have the option to do well to come out of your zone.
Right.
And
then they will still try to keep you in your zone, eh?
Well, the thing is, based on what I was told by the supervisor for the Northeast, however, region, is that the choices part of it, the part with your choices, that is done by a computer system. No, that is not done by people, right? Based on your marks, and as the algorithm is working out now, based on your marks and your choices, it slot you, and then after that, if it can't slot you in any of your choices, right, then
you're zoned.
Then you're zoned.
Okay, all right.
And if it's so happen that the school's in your zone full already, and then you have no choice.
Or the schools in your zone aren't within there is no school in your zone that's within a particular bracket.
Well, not necessarily the grade, because the grades, once you fall out of that choice part of it, is either fail or fit in any school in your zone. So what you're saying is that, but if the schools in your zone full because they reach to your name and right, and they don't fill up all the government schools and already, then they might in your zone, then they might end up going further out of your zone. Then they will place you. Then they kind of scrambling for place to put you in a way, and that's how it might be from
right.
yeah, right, from a remand end up going southeast or Mount Hope, or you understand that kind of thing. So that's what you're seeing. People tell me, when I tell them that's what you see how it is done, they say that lie, whatever. Me, I not there. And if somebody tell me that's what it is, I mean, I'd be pretty cynical to just jump on in the or get lying.
Okay.
Right? I mean, why you lie about the system? I mean, I think if there's a system that the ministry is using, I think that could be investigated. People could ask.
Right. Yeah, it would be. You could probably get freedom of information requests to get particular information and investigate what might have taken place with a particular child's place.
Right.
So,
and find out about the system they use in the place each year.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they could do that and find out that. So he lying about that could put him in some real hot water if he was. And then he also explained how the 20% will come over. But yeah, that's my thing with the zoning, like the American system. And then, people are saying, yeah, do the continual assessment kind of thing. And then I thought about it, dog. What if, teachers always say they're underpaid, right? And if I want my child to go to good school, and I could hit a teacher at 20,000, dog, to keep my child marks up.
You'll have to pay several teachers because it'll have to be throughout the school.
But more than I do, got started check it from standard. Like you say, the child check it from standard 3. Like 2 teachers, dog. Because standard 4 and standard 5 teacher, the same teacher.
No, yeah. Well, that you can pay 2 teachers 10 grand, 20 grand each.
Yeah.
Real one. People like that will get a child in a 20% school anyway.
Why you think people like that have the links in the 20% schools?
Everybody's willing to pay that kind of money because remember, that's something that's very easy to deduce if some kind of it'd be very easy for a teacher to get caught fudging a child's grades, right? Children could be very vigilant. You could observe how a child operates in class and see, hey, but she done, so she's coming first all the time, right? So if a teacher was to play mad with that, they'll probably want to be well compensated. And I think if you go that far, if you're going that far, you're one of those people that don't have to worry about that anyway. Your child don't pass for the school you want, you could probably send them to a private school. I would suggest you save your money and invest in that if that's the kind of nonsense you're trying.
Well, let me see.
I don't think that's good. I don't think that's a threat to the system. I think the main problem with that is that it's not standardized, right? Because some teachers, what will happen is teachers will be coaching children through tests to get their grades up. There's no way to make sure that all teachers are grading at the same standard. They administering the test in the same way. Some students might be like, I remember when my daughter, well, just the other day, in fact, in a lower form, one of the tests, she was talking about how, the teacher was kind of feeling sorry for them because this was not too long after they had just come back out and whatever. And she was walking, while they were doing it, while the invigilator was observing them doing the tests, and she just, I'll watch them for a while, and the invigilator walk out, and this is not like a CXE administrator,
right,
it's a term test, right? A walk out, and she was walking around kind of like blurting out clues to the answers, So what I'm saying is, that is the kind of thing that can happen because there is no standardized way in which everybody's being assessed.
But right,
and that's why people always say it's unfair, or there can be room for fudging.
Like we really, in every school would want to look good. Every school would want to be a star boy school.
Right, exactly. So there would be administering tests in some kind of laissez-faire ways, giving children maybe open book exams, giving them, leading up to the term tests, they give them practice tests that are almost exactly the same thing as the term test, and so everybody look like a star. And that's what would make. That's why I think the real problem would arise. But my thing, the reason I wanted to talk about this because just like you, the whole topic of we had to do it with common entrance and that's stupid or putting the children under pressure. Nothing irritates me more than that. You know?
Well, the thing is, I hear in here. I mean, to me, I understand the pressure because I understand that's what life is, though. That's what life is about. You understand what I'm saying? And I believe if you can't handle pressure, you fall behind. And that is what life is. Now, obviously, if you have a socialist mentality, then you wouldn't like that. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
But if you have more of a slight,
you believe in meritocracy.
yeah, then that wouldn't bother you.
I think what happens is a lot of people, after passing through a system, they look back at the other people and feel like, oh, you know, some of the people saying this are people who did well in common entrance. It's like, but did you die? Did you pass through the process? Well, did you? Yeah, but some people can't. But why you me assuming that some other people can't handle it, other children can't? No, of course, we're not talking about extremes, right? So if you're a parent who's threatening to, you know, beat your child over the head with a 2x4 if they feel, then we're not talking about that.
Right. And then that problem is still the parents and the exam.
Right, exactly, right? But what is wrong with having children at 11, 12, sometimes I guess 13, depending on how late you start primary school, but
you know at 13 you can't do the exam.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Right? So 11, 12 years old, what is wrong with them having to deal the first instance of applying themselves and having something, having to put something on the line for the future? What is wrong with having an 11 or 12-year-old deal with that at that point in time? Now, again, I'm not telling nobody, and we never want the children to feel that if they fail at this hurdle, then they're useless. And that's where the role of the parent comes in, and counseling from the school and everything, you know. You put the pressure in context. But what is wrong with having the children face a little bit of a nail biter at 11, 12 years old? Were they dead? When did children become these delicate flowers who all of a sudden can't? No, I don't believe in this current education system, period, right? I think the whole thing should be scrapped. Common entrance, SCA, blah, blah, blah. I think the whole way that primary school and secondary school is structured is a waste of children's time, right? But if we're going to have it, then I don't see a problem with having the common entrance exam or SCA or whatever, a standardized test that the children have to sit at a particular age that has some sort of determining
and then
factor.
The thing is, so what I found out recently, I mean, it's probably something going on for years, but I only found out recently, right? That if your child has special needs, in terms of your child, they suffer with anxiety, and they have some sort of proof, some doctor, right? Some doctor, letter, whatever the case may be, your child can be awarded, once you go through the proper process, your child can be awarded extra time. Right? Sit in a separate class.
Yeah, that's always existed.
Yeah, with a separate. Well, I didn't know they used it for children's anxiety and them kind of thing now.
Well, I guess it would have been any condition that could severely affect their performance in an exam. Yeah, it would. I mean, when we were growing up, nobody talked about anxiety. But I'm sure if you had panic attacks and you had doctors, you had some sort of doctor's note to that effect, then you could have organized something for to be treated differently,
right,
on the exam day.
So then, if it is your child really can't function under that, and you can go by the doctor, you go by a psychiatrist, psychologist, or whoever, and you get a note, you come with your note.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there is nothing that prevents children from adequately dealing with the pressure of that exam, with the pressure of, you know, having some element of the future depend on. Now, the thing is, again, you as the parent will put it into context. This will determine what school you go to, but this is not going to determine whether you'll be a failure or not, right? I can show you a ton of people that went to prestige schools that are failures and a ton of people who didn't go to prestige schools who are very successful. So you put that into your child's head from the very beginning. This is not a determination of your future, but it does determine what school you go to. So, and most children would have a desire to go to a particular school for whatever reason, right? Their friends want to go there, they just want to go there, you know, and most of them would set their goal on a school that has that would require them hitting a high grade, right, to get into. So is the first time that they would be given an opportunity to set a goal and understand that you work towards this goal and see if you can achieve it, if you can put in what is necessary to achieve that particular goal. What is wrong with teaching children that lesson from that early an age? Why do we believe that children need to be pampered all through life? And the thing is, it often comes from people who benefit from not having been pampered themselves. These are people who have succeeded throughout life because they haven't been treated with kid gloves. And instead of sitting and saying, okay, well, listen, this is the system I passed through and I survived, and all of a sudden they become these magnanimous individuals like nobody else because I'm special. I survived the pressure. But these other children, them can't do that. No, listen. I believe, like you were mentioning before, I believe in meritocracy. I believe that children should learn from a very early age that they get what they work for, and the standardized test is probably one of the most, I guess, objective ways for them to learn that at an early age. Now, yes, there's always bubble, and some people's getting to school or they're done, something like that. Right, cool, get that.
But then, is it really bubble? I wouldn't say it's bubble. I mean. If a school have a 20%, they could choose 20% of the children who could come to their school.
I don't think anybody who should be picked to enter a school who doesn't achieve the required grade. No, whether that is the requirement by the ministry is not my point.
But remember, them things that do happen in government schools. That's only happening in school that other people own, and the government
assisted, right? Yeah. And they're not private. People, not the students who are coming and paying. This is not like Bishop's East, where you could pass through school, or if you don't and there's space, you could just utilize as a private school. Well, okay, fine. If you are paying a term subscription essentially to attend the school, regardless,
but think of what you might be paying if it's in social value.
What do you mean?
If you take reach only 20% list, right? It might have been a social credit, if you understand what I'm saying. A social value that give you the opportunity to be on that level, if you understand. So it might be a monetary thing. And then it might end up being a monetary thing in the long run.
Well, what I'm saying is, if the school requires that you attain a certain grade to pass for the school, to enter the school as a regular student, I don't think anybody should be allowed to enter that school who has to attain that grade. But unless they are paying for them.
No, like, I think 80% of the children who have to come to the school requires a certain grade to come to the school. The next 20, we take them however we feel, and I think that's what it is.
No, I'm not saying that's not what it is. What I'm saying is I don't think the only time you should be able to handpick students, and regardless of their performance, should be if there's no standard to get into school, period. That is my personal view, is what I'm saying.
Right.
And so anybody who enters that school who did not meet the required grades that other people have to meet, I think doesn't deserve to be there. Shouldn't deserve to be.
Well, I mean, as I say, that's your perspective on it. But
I think the only time that should be overridden is if you paying. Okay, I am just a student that is paying for a chair, right? I recognize I'm not supposed to be here, but I'll pay, right? But yes, I personally think that, in my view, that's bubble to bring in people because the whole premise behind the reasoning why we have higher grades or require higher grades is because there's supposed to be a difference in the rate at which the students are taught, and there is a difference in the curriculum, right? It's not just random. So if I'm going to bring in people who aren't necessarily going to keep up with the rate at which the students are going to be taught, then what am I bringing them into school for? Am I not doing a disservice to them?
I understand your point, but my thing is simply, if people had a school and that's what they want to do with it, alright, cool, because
I think there should be a private school. Then everybody should pay and come. Then if in other words, if that's what you're doing, then I'll just make it a pay school and have everybody pay to come. And then if you could say, well, certain people don't need to pay because they're on some patronage, fund or wherever. There's, friend alumni fund or wherever. You grant students scholarships to come, and everybody has to pay. But if you're going to have a school that is going to be government assisted, I don't think you should be bringing anybody into that school who doesn't meet the grade, who can't perform as well as everybody else. But anyway, that's just how I think it should. But in terms of the larger point, no, I don't think we should do away with SCA. Like I say, if we're going to keep the education system in the current format, then no, keep it there. But we should scrap everything about how we teach children. Anyhow, from primary school straight up to secondary school.
But to replace it, what though?
What, the current education system?
Yeah.
I think that there should be a focus on teaching children how to learn. I think they should be spending. I don't think. First of all, the first problem is we cannot teach everybody at the same rate. Designing a system where you're trying to pass hundreds of thousands, and in bigger countries, millions and tens of millions of people, matriculate them through a system at the same rate is retarded. Children don't learn, people don't learn at the same rate. You could check back with a person who might have been one of the slowest in class at first form, second form, third form. They couldn't grasp anything. You get a person at 25 years old, bring them back to do those same studies, and they would ace it now. Because for whatever reason, the emotional intelligence has improved. Now they might be more motivated. Now they understand why they need to learn these things, or they're just in a frame of mind now, having done other things, experienced different things. Now they could put the things they learn in context. But what difference did it make if they learn it at 15 or 25? You understand what I'm saying? What is why is it so important that they learn it at 15 as opposed to at 25? So I think trying to pass everybody through a system and teach everybody at the same rate is retarded, is an understatement, right? So we should stop that. And what we should focus on is drilling children on the basics, arithmetic skills, logic, reading, writing, and we should teach children how to learn. Because, as I keep saying, this is not back in 1901 when the resources to learn was in some fancy building called a library, and it was locked up, and it was only so many books, and you needed this whole big state mechanism in order to provide students with the information they needed to learn, and only certain people could teach it. Now, this is 2023, bro. There is no shortage of information for people who want to learn. What is lacking is a motivation to learn.
Right, yeah, I agree. And I think as you make a point, and you make a good point there, I think what is important as well, going forward especially, in the era of the internet, as they're teaching people how to learn and teaching people to decipher what's good information from possibly
from misinformation.
Misinformation.
Yeah. So, and all of that will be part of teaching people how to learn, because you teach them reasoning skills, you teach them how to apply logic, you teach them how to be impartial when they're taking it, because you're only going to learn if you acquire good information, and you're going to be motivated to get good information because you want to learn. So you're going to apply these basics, the ability to read and write, to apply numerical skills and reasoning skills. You're going to use that now to learn what you are motivated to learn, right? And you could be motivated to learn things at a different time, at a different rate. You know what I mean? You could be motivated to learn about mechanics, and then you start learning and you realize, it's not for me. Okay, cool. And then when you're ready, you sit a standardized test and you get your grade and your qualification to move forward to do whatever it is you want to do. Why does it need to be happening at the same rate? Why does everybody need to be, think about this. Because we attempt to standardize it, and we invent these curricula that we believe some experts say is going to endow the children with the type of knowledge that we want them to have. But if you test anybody right out of secondary school, about 90% of what they learned has just gone straight out of their brain. 90% of what they spent 5, 7, however many years in school learning has just gone straight out of their brain.
But the thing is, do you think, a lot of these things in place because also to help with things like laws dealing with children, in Trinidad, I think is once you're between the age of 5 or 6 and 16, you have to be in a school.
No, but you could be in a school, but the school could be structured much differently. The school doesn't have to be everybody in this grade at the same time and then go up to this next grade.
The thing is, you're saying when they're ready to set this exam or whatever the case may be. So then, what cap or what point we will put
18, just like we do now. And after that, if you want to do it, you do it privately, just like you do now. If I finish secondary school and then decide, you know what, I should do bio, but I feel I want to do CXC bio. I'll go and study CXC bio and pay privately to sit the exam and get my grade. If I, all through school, I think I want to be an accountant. Then
No, so the thing is, they will have to set some sort of exam at 18. Or
no, well, you will not be able to acquire. You would not be required to be in school, and you will not be able to sit it through that system after 18.
Right.
So if you choose to leave school with no grades, with no having sat no standardized test to get any qualifications, well, that's you. Just like a lot of people go through school and get no passes, right? But you would be given the opportunity, and we would spend most of the time that you're in school drilling you on the basics. So if you didn't grasp it at 10, you grasp it at 14. And if you didn't grasp it at 14, you grasp it at 18. Because the reality is it makes no difference. All that needs to happen is when you are willing and ready to apply yourself to whatever it is you're going to choose to apply yourself to, you just need to have the basics down. I did French from Form 1 to Form 5. I loved French, as you know, right? I got a 1 in French. I was nowhere near fluent after doing that for 5 years. I did an internet course, and my French is 100,000 times better. And I did that in 2 months, 2.5 months. And since then, it's just building on it, trying to remember to use it, to, and it just go and, and you have to kind of really immerse yourself. And I never traveled to any French-speaking place. Well, I did go to Montreal, but, I didn't really speak with a lot of French speakers, so I didn't immerse myself in it. I sat on the internet and learned, right? So the way we teach languages in school, does that make any sense? Any sense at all? But we have all these French teachers and Spanish teachers, and we employing them in this system, and kill we dead, we doing something, and children coming out of 1 and 2 and grade, and they're beating up themselves to pass this exam and can't speak a lick of French or Spanish when they come out. You understand what I'm saying? Mathematics. You have people passing mathematics at CXC level who, if you were to, attempt to test their ability to reason mathematically by giving them a real world test, they fall down.
Yeah, that's something I see regularly, because a lot of people, just simple numbers, you bounce them up with and you're talking, and you're just working out, you're trying to work out a figure for something, right? We just see, all they go on to line and you have to come up with the figure, how much everybody have to pay for the bill. Real people struggle with that, dog. Real people,
And listen, the problem I find is I can kind of understand if you can't do maths in your head. The fact that, because that is a skill, that is a gift some people might have, and the ability to work with numbers in your head. But I'm talking about, they can't, maybe not working out how much to pay for something, right? But they are attempting to solve a problem, and they couldn't even tell you how to do it mathematically. They couldn't even understand what process. What am I multiplying? What am I dividing? Am I dividing? Am I multiplying? They can't apply that to a real world situation. You understand? And they would show you a piece of paper with a pass in maths.
Right, yeah.
So what do these things even mean anymore?
Yeah, I know people in the bank course who struggle with maths. You know what I'm saying? I know working in the bank.
Yes. Yeah. Working out percentages. Yeah. They can't even, they wouldn't even tell you what should be divided by what and multiplied by what. Not even that they can't work it in their head. They can't write it on a piece of paper and work it out for you, or use a calculator.
Yeah. If the system down,
they can't do that.
Yeah, their life in a mess.
And they've been doing math since primary school. So what does that grade on that CXC paper really mean? You understand what I'm saying? And then, as I say, 95% of the information is out. It's completely useless. It's completely useless information.
Yeah,
right?
because I think a lot of math sometimes, especially when you reach CXC level, a lot of it should be really tied into chemistry. You would say physics. When they start to go into Pythagoras theorem, and they start to go into.
Well, I think those things are there to test how well you are learned. You've learned the basic functions.
No. What I'm saying is, because most of those things, you don't use those things in regular life.
Yeah, no, you don't. You're not.
But you might use it in our next field.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's like Pythagoras theorem. Well, not really Pythagoras theorem, but you'll use trigonometry or trigonometrical reasoning in like physics and them other things, right? But I ain't even talking about maths. I'm talking about like 95% of what you learn, period. Geography, history, none of that is stuff. Most of it is stuff you can't recall because that's not how learning works. You learn when you're motivated to learn. You have a reason for learning, and then it sticks with you because you learned it for a purpose. If I learn how to knead flour, right? I'm going to always remember how to knead flour because I learned it for the purpose of baking bread.
Right.
And then because I baked bread over and over and over, even if I stopped baking bread for 9 years, I could go back and knead flour. But if I learned to knead flour because you put me in a food and nutrition course and I didn't care about that, then after I knead the flour for you and I do it for the exam, I'm done. I'm done. Catch me back 5 years from now, I can't knead flour again. So what was the purpose of putting me through that?
Right, yeah.
When I could have spent, and the problem that I have, the real problem I have with putting people through the system is that when people aren't adapting to it well, because there are certain people who adapt well, who school is made for them, and I'm probably one of those people.
Right.
School was made for me. I like book. I like to read. I like to, you know what I mean. So school was made for me, right? But I'm not the only type of person in the world.
Yeah.
And there were lots of people who had different forms of intelligence, who had different pace, who might have learned at a different pace, but, you know, we at the same level now, you know what I mean? And they would have been discouraged because they weren't performing well at school.
So, I understand the point you make, and let me tell you why, right? The thing is, for me, I need to be in a kind of happy place or in a good place for me to learn.
Right.
Right? And actually, my little daughter like that too. So, for me, when I went Trinity, I really could not function there, boy. And not because I think I wasn't able to keep up, but I just wasn't happy there. You understand? I really like electronics, right? Because you know me, I was in music and I'm thinking a long time, and I wanted to be a DJ since I was 8 years old. So I just wanted the opportunity to work with electrical stuff and that kind of thing. And I did none of them things.
Right.
So for me, it's like I was frustrated there more than anything else.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
And you would start to feel like school is not for me.
And the thing is, because I remember I tried to get into LO Blue. Because they had electrical program and electronics or whatever. Didn't work out. And I went to go sec. And I just get to do metal work, dog. I didn't really want to do metal work, but I get to do some with my hands, something like that. You understand what I'm saying? And I was real happy with that.
Yeah, exactly.
I went to go second, I functioned pretty well. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And so I understand that, you know, the holistic way of teaching is important as well. Like, for instance, my daughter's first choice is bishops in Tong, right? And I would like, but why put bishops in Tong if you live in Arima? Why put bishops in East? I was like, well, bishops in Tong, they way more, I don't want to say well-rounded, but I want to make bishops up here sound bad. But they have plenty things going on up there. You know, they are the choir, they are this, they are that, they have a dragon boat, they are this, you know what I'm saying? There are plenty things. And she's a child, she needs to do a lot of other things, and then she'll study schoolwork. If she can't get to do the other things, she wants to know schoolwork.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And why I think she doesn't want to know about schoolwork, because no one has impressed upon her why she needs to learn any of these things you're teaching her. If there was something that she was interested in learning, she'd be motivated to learn, and then she would apply herself. Now, yes, I do understand that sometimes you need to learn that you need to do things you don't want to do. That's an important lesson for children to learn, because in life, not everything you're going to be required to do, they're going to be part of it, the tasks that you do on a daily basis that are going to be things you hate. And you just need to learn to deal with things that you hate. But you can't put children in a system where they're constantly being taught things that they have zero interest in. You are making a real effort to explain to them why they need to learn it. You're not connecting it to anything that they would really want to do, and then be like, well, why aren't you learning? So, because that's not how people
So
learn.
then, let me ask a question then. So, because, you know, the people keep talking about in the States and England, when they ask children today what they want to be when they grow up, a lot of them saying YouTubers. Right? Do you think that is kind of like a spin-off for that? Because it's like, oh, so let's say I'm going to do maths, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and algebra and whatever. And I don't see how I need it in real life. But guess what? If I know how to put on a camera and and have a personality in front of the camera. Don't get me wrong. Plenty of them wouldn't be successful in this thing, right?
Yeah.
But, is it that they see something that interesting and it's easier to learn and do?
Yes.
That is
More fun to do.
Yeah, it's more fun to do than them wanting to do.
Well, I think there was always that. I always think there were always, and there is a lot of laziness involved too. Sometimes it's just laziness. They don't want to do anything. Once anything takes effort, they're like, they're not. And that's something that I'm noticing with this younger generation, that needs to be dealt with. They have because of the sort of society we live in today, where everything comes at the snap of your finger. They're getting real lazy, and they have zero stick-to-itiveness. Once it doesn't come easily, even things they like to do, like video games. Well, I think so many of these kind of games that take no skill, they're getting, they're some of the most popular games, in the world. Sims and these kind of bullshit, where it takes no skill to play the game. It basically just living out a life in digital form, right? These things are very popular because a lot of children not really into, anything that takes too much hand-eye coordination, and okay, they might hey, this is cool and fun, but the minute starts to get a little bit difficult, they're like how we were, where we sit down and I had to be this game, they're not on that. They just take it
because the thing is, then they'll head for a real rude awakening, because YouTube is a very difficult thing to do.
Yes.
People just feel it easy.
Yes.
And we ain't talking about podcasting, but we talking about YouTube and being successful on YouTube.
Yes.
You call that medium length content, because this will be long form, but means in short form like TikTok.
Being successful even in short form, coming up with ideas, you have to be dedicated, you have to be consistent, and you have to be willing, you have to be very ambitious, and you need to be willing to come out of yourself, because if you feel you're just going to do what you like only when you like it, and that's going to, people going to just follow you and you'll get all the big money. No, there'll be points in time where you'll have to make content. You don't want to make content. You're fed up. Do this. You started doing dance videos, but they're getting kind of boring now. But you try other forms of content, people like it. So guess what? You'll have to get your ass up and dance if you want to continue making content. So to your point, I think yes, there might be some laziness, but there's also the reality that you're pointing to, that they are looking at people who are very successful and they don't see how any of what you're teaching them is helping them to do that.
And the thing is also, probably as the point you're making, if you start to introduce different things, you start to introduce cooking, baking, and these things, probably they might want to become YouTubers. They might say, well, hey, boy, I really like this.
Precisely.
You understand what I'm saying?
Precisely. You teach them, you teach them how to learn, and then you say, okay, go and apply that to something and bring it back and let me assess you. So, okay, you know nothing about electronics, right? But I'm teaching you how to conduct research, how to map syntax in your brain, how to acquire skills, and I'm teaching you all of this, and I'm saying, okay, as an assignment, learn this and come back and show me. And you can apply to what you want to learn, right? And you can come back and show me, well, look, I took all that you told me. I went on YouTube. I found tutorial videos. I found this. I found that. I found the other. And look, I was able to, in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, make a circuit or do a video. Or, you understand what I'm saying? But you teach them how to learn. And then they take those skills now and apply it to what... They can apply it to anything. But they will initially begin to apply to things that they want to learn. And then so you build, you first of all train them to be self-reliant and learn that you can learn almost anything.
And I think that will help now, because once some people, once they learn one thing and they realize they came from not knowing anything about one thing, being able to kind of master it even a bit like that, then they'll be like, okay, let me go and do something else. I feel like I could learn something else.
Exactly.
I feel like it.
And consider it, if we live in a world, and we'll talk about this a little later, where everything is changing. Halfway away teaching these children now is going to be obsolete next year. You know what I mean? With ChatGPT now, we teaching children not going to do no essays again, dog. It's going to be, ask ChatGPT, write an essay for me and transpose, and we going to be chasing the tails trying to figure out how to run some software to find out if it's AI write it, or what shit we doing, dog? Artificial intelligence reaching a stage now. What we need to teach children is how to learn, so that whatever happens tomorrow, they know now how to acquire skills to acquire these skills to do whatever. You understand? Whatever it is now demanded, or how they have to adapt. You know, when I used to be a plumber, but you know there are robots doing plumbing now. How do I learn a new skill?
Right.
You won't be afraid to do that because you came up learning how to learn and how to acquire new skills. So I just think this whole education system, but it's a racket. And, you know, first problem that people have is the people who are in it now are going to be like, well, what will happen with me? We're going to do with all these Spanish teachers, you know, it's all these French teachers, all these, I mean, there might be ways to utilize them. They could become tutors. They could teach the children by having more one-on-one classes. And because you're not trying to matriculate people at the same time, you could, you know, and you will have a lot less people in your class because, you know, let's be honest, a lot of these children don't want to learn plenty of them things that they're forcing them to learn. So you'll be dealing with children who want to learn what it is, you know, they're doing. So I don't know, but the main issue is that people are gonna fight against any change because they're just accustomed to this. We built this robotic system, and you know, we had a stupid system where we just tune them out and send them to university, and we convince yourself that once you get them a piece of paper, they're bright.
But hey, we see on a everyday basis how bright all of them are not. Yeah.
We switching gears?
Yeah, let's switch gears.
We wanna jump into the Forex, or you wanna go straight into the music rap?
Let me touch on the Forex, and then we'll touch on the music, the dancehall and
yeah. Well, we should let people know who holding on specifically for the music rap. We're going to talk about Bounty.
Yeah, well, so many things about Bounty.
Yeah. But yeah, this one thing, as I say, Corey had reached out saying he was looking forward to us talk about this. He had hope that we out last week, but again, you know, we had to. You in particular had to dedicate yourself to something far more important than this, right? But today, let me warn you. Let me warn. We on TikTok, right? Let me warn TikTok. I gonna sound like a PNM today, right? And they go real brand we PNM today. If they call me that before, they go real brand PNM today, because my thing. Now, for those who don't know what we're talking about, quite recently there was well, actually not that recently. The report was published and forwarded to the Trinidad and Tobago government, but it was only recently covered in the news that the IMF was advising that Trinidad and Tobago should look to float the dollar or devalue the dollar. Float it meaning essentially let the market determine the value, or devalue it, you know, set a marked value which is lower than what it is now, to the US dollar to deal with some of the Forex issues that we're facing, right? The Minister of Finance has admitted we have a Forex shortage, but by that he simply means demand outstrips supply, right? More people want than they could give. But he's saying that we don't have a crisis. In other words, we have the foreign exchange to cover what we need. But there is still a shortage because we have way more people who want than we have to supply, right? And people jumped on that. You know, I think I think it was the Express had, you know, put the big front page thing, Forex crisis, IMF warns, blah, 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 right? The first thing I would like to say is I have to give Colmenbert his respect here, because I completely agree that the media really misled people in terms of how this was covered.
Right.
If you read the report, or at least read a more comprehensive summary of the report, you would realize that there was quite a number of things that the IMF had said. And quite a number of them were positive. Right. Well, at least they were commending the government for making what they would view as prudent steps towards arresting the economic issues that we're dealing with here. And for the media to just really pick that out, and listen, I understand they need to sell papers, right? They're looking to sensationalize. They're looking to fearmonger, right? But I do think that even after the fear mongering, they could have done a much better job, because that could be the front page article.
Yeah.
That could be the thing to make it by the papers.
And then you read it and
But they could have at that point in time been far more even-handed in how they reported what was said by the IMF, and not because they want to be fair to the PNM, but because one of the problems I have with our society in general is that we have a bunch of people who don't want to know nothing about nothing, but have a lot of opinions.
right.
You know, I don't care if you want to know nothing about nothing, but then don't get loud about who you want to vote for and who shouldn't vote for. But if you don't want to do nothing about nothing, then stay to yourself. But we have a lot of people who don't want to do nothing about nothing. They don't know nothing about nothing, and they don't want to know nothing about nothing, but have these loud mouths about who should be prime minister and who should not be, and who should be this and who should be that. And I think the media kind of fuels that by just not reporting things well. There's a way to report on what the IMF report contained without being boring, without lecturing people, but giving people a fair idea. Because when you understand it, when Cummingwood conducted the press briefing, you know, he went through it in a fairly comprehensive manner, at least as much as he could have done in a press conference. And I felt he did a good job of explaining the fiscal measures that the government has been putting in place over the past few years and how it's been assessed by the IMF. And that's important, though. It didn't sound like he was listening to an economics lecture from some UE professor. And you would kind of understand, oh, that is why they're doing this, and oh, that's why they're doing that. So the first thing I like to say is, yeah, he have a point. He's always quarreling about not getting fair coverage from the media. That is his shtick. But in this case, I can't get him wrong. Right? And then the second thing I want to commend him on is I completely understand and agree with his stance that we're not going to devalue the dollar. We're not going to do that. We're not going to... the other thing the IMF wants us to do is to just remove all regulations and limitations. In other words, let whoever need Forex get it, and when it's done, it's done. Right? In other words, they go to the highest bidder. Because that's what will happen if you remove regulations. The people who are willing to pay the highest, the value of the foreign currency would rise relative to ours. US, of course, will rise relative to ours, and whoever can get it will access it. And the people who can't access it will no longer have access to, you know, foreign markets in that way, right? He said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Because it will be all of the people, the Mariano Browns and the, you know, the Roger Hossains, and they've been clamoring that we do that. It will cause serious immediate... Now, let me be... this is where I'll temper my praise, right? Because listen, them as politicians, they don't care about what they're doing, how they will affect you and me. But they do care that people will get pissed at them. Right? Yeah. So they don't want to be the ones holding the battle when the shit start to hit the fan. And to be fair to him, while he is... Because what he's been accused of, and they've been accusing him of doing this for the longest while, because long time we talking about this Forex situation, is just kicking the can down the road. Saying, well, listen, I don't want to deal with the problem now, so I'll just keep doing what I'm doing until it addresses itself. And what his detractors would be saying is, bro, you should just take your Buckleys now. It will sting, but take it now, because down the road, if you kick this, when it does come home to roost, it will be real problems. But I don't believe so. First of all, they've been saying that for a while, and the whole House of Cards hasn't collapsed, number one. And number two, to his point, they are doing things to redress the situation. So I don't understand why people are insisting, and I'm starting to wonder if they have some kind of vested interest in seeing the dollar devalued. I can't figure it out, but if in some way, shape, or form it would profit them.
Well, the thing is, so I heard Corey talking about this, right? And one of my thoughts when he was talking about it is, you see people who have a little more money than normal, it's easier for them to say that. Because even if the price of the US go up, they could still reach it now.
Right, yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and you know, we just paying things with a broad brush in Trinidad. You say, oh, it's our US shortages, but everybody buying things on Amazon. No, everybody's not buying things.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody's not shopping online.
Yeah.
There's a few people shopping online. But what happens now with the few people who they save up and buy something every 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Or save up to buy something for Christmas or just presents.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know,
they will be affected greatly.
you're now damaging them completely.
Right.
And once the price of US go up, that means the price of even the toys that they have to buy locally will go up as well.
Everything goes up.
And it will go up even more. You understand what I'm saying?
Exponentially, immediately. In at a time where we're already dealing with runaway inflation, right? With food prices and commodity prices, it's through the roof.
You're right. So the thing is, the people who saying, well, let's do that, I think most how some poor people you are saying that, let's be real.
Well, I mean, they would be saying that to give them their due, they are saying that what they will do they're not denying that it will cause pain and headache now. What they are saying is that they will be saving themselves from a lot more pain and headache, saving the poor people, the same people who you're trying to prevent from falling off the cliff now. If you do it now, you could get them to be on the brink. They'll be on the brink. They'll be uncomfortable. They'll be nervous. They'll be anxious. You know, one or two might fall off the cliff. But if you wait, you're gonna reach a stage where nothing can be done, and then we're gonna reach the stage of Forex crisis,
Right.
and then nobody can access US, and then the whole wheel comes to a halt real quick.
Right?
Right.
No, my thing is this. Instead of focusing on that, why we can't or don't focus on what we could do to increase the Forex?
Which is Corey's point, right?
Right.
We should focus on increasing our Forex reserves by attracting more foreign exchange to the country. In ways in which we could innovate and so on.
Right. And it don't need to be on the government level. It could be whether you start to knit something a particular way and start to sell it online or wherever you go on Fiverr and you start to bring in money.
Yeah.
That is one of the ways. No, I think we had to look at certain things too, because it might have a particular community who's buying US at a nice rate and sending that US outside.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? When I say a particular community, right?
Yeah.
For most people, you know, if you move around, you see the signs when you walk in the place to buy a little food or to buy your groceries. You see the signs.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Is it that is a big part of the problem too? That they are
extracting valuable Forex.
Yeah, and sending it out. You understand what I'm saying? Because if we do start to get the Forex in a hand, and they continue to take it and send it out, that still would nearly.
Well, I mean, a lot of Forex is being purchased on the black market right now at exorbitant rates, which is why the people would argue, the people who are in favor of devaluing would say, but listen, people on the black market paying all kind of price for US anyway. So, they would say, not most, but a lot of people getting this on the black market right now. So if we float it, people just pay and that would be life. I don't think that's a big part of the problem, but I do think that the idea that we could just easily attract foreign exchange by innovating is a very, very, I don't think we haven't built that kind of economic resilience over the few and that innovation culture in this country, and you can't just snap the finger and change.
I agree, but I think it's a conversation that needs to be had.
Well, yeah, but here and I would sound like a blowing them for a trumpet. Pause. But one of the things I remember Keith Rowley saying that was funny, slightly disrespectful, but it was on point, where he said, diversification is a real nice word for people to say. It have a few syllables, so you sound bright when you say it. So people love to say the word, but they don't understand how hard that is to do. You know what I mean? In order to truly diversify an economy, especially if you're talking about not just cottage industries within your country, but attracting foreign exchange by either export, bringing in foreign direct investment, you're talking about, we have to have a comparative advantage in that particular field. And that's not hard to find. That's not easy to find. To find something that we would be better at producing here, and therefore it would be more efficient for a foreign country to import from us than for them to import either from somewhere else or to make it themselves. That's a very difficult thing to find, especially for a tiny country like Trinidad and Tobago without a notable area of expertise. Jamaica has a very well developed cultural industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they can always rely on that to bring in money, right? They're constantly producing artists and events and so on and so forth that attract attention from all over the world. And so, you know, they would have a degree of expertise in that area that would give what I would. So, like, if they were to have they do have a carnival, but let's say they were to say, you know what, we're going to work on making this thing the biggest thing in the world. They would have a comparative advantage to Trinidad and Tobago because they're already located. The location is better for people come from the United States. They're already a much bigger tourism destination. They have all the advantages that would make that the best thing for them to do. Now, I'm not saying Trinidad and Tobago has nothing that they could utilize, that they could leverage to gain an advantage, but it's not easy. I can't think of them off the top of my head. Now, remember ECLAC, that's the Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, right? I think I was still on radio at the time because I was interviewing somebody, and the topic was the fact that ECLAC had just put out a report that was pointing out that that Trinidad and Tobago actually had a comparative advantage in the area of agro-processing, right? Now, they were talking essentially about because of our location and our ability to produce products, not just end products, but input products for countries that were in demand in territories around us, Latin America, South America, and where we were located in an area to serve those markets, and we also had some degree of expertise in agro-processing already. We had the kind of industry vertical setup here in Trinidad and Tobago, that was something that we could press the gas on. Now, this is why Bashi PNM, I don't know that that's been mobilized at all. We've talked a lot about it. I remember whatever was the last mid-year review that we did before that report came out, Colin would talk a good game about, pressing the gas on that essentially. But has that gone anywhere? I don't know that it has.
I remember Philip Alexander was saying too that we could have an industry of storing and doing works on yachts.
Right. Yes, I've heard that before.
Right, because they say Trinidad, God is a Trini, and Trinidad really get hit by storms and hurricanes.
Right.
That when hurricane season come, people can come and park the yachts and whatnot down here.
Yes.
Right, because the statistics show, right? That's the track record shows.
Right.
Every year there's a 4 or 5 storm or hurricane.
Right.
And did it really hit you?
Yeah.
Right?
Especially Trinidad. Not Tobago.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's one of the things you're suggesting, which brings in Forex as well.
Right.
And what you're seeing is that that's the industry for people to come and fix the boats here. So you bring tradesmen in the mix. Right?
Right. And now, do we already have that expertise here, or are we going to have to now train people, develop people? Are we going to have to bring in foreigners now to start a school, to start teaching people? I don't know, but again, that sounds like a good idea. But yeah, we have to explore things like that, and the government, as far as they're concerned, if they have any role to play at all, it is to encourage these things through their policies,
right,
and the fiscal measures. Are they doing that?
Right.
Are they doing that?
Something I could look at is CMOS, though. What's my cousin selling CMOS, right? Like a little thing of CMOS was for like 25 years, though. Like a little thing. Like, I don't want to get a big bottle of CMOS, the gel, in gel form, for $20 here.
Right.
She's selling a little bottle, like a little jam bottle,
right,
for like 25 years. She is creaming, dog, with CMOS. Right. Yeah, so our next cousin who just get it by it here, make it in gel form, and then carry it up for her, and then she's repackaged it and
right.
And she's making a killing with CMOS. Apparently CMOS is, that them pockets in the States with people who
are healthy.
Yeah, and they just come and learn about these things, things that we know about years.
Yeah.
Because since my father's alive, dog, we drinking CMOS in the house, you know what I'm saying? Next thing too, that people real hype now in the States, and it growing is sauce up.
Right.
Because apparently I don't know if it don't grow in the States, so people in the States didn't really know about it.
No, well, well, as I say, this is the UK, but sauce up was a pretty popular thing.
But I think because in the UK they would come across it because I think they say it originated from Thailand or from someone.
Southeast Asia.
Yeah. So the UK tend to have a lot of people from that side. They're not
the US too,
right? But I seen a lot of people on in the US.
Ratings also
up in this big way is a wonder fruit and a magic fruit and it taking cancer and doing this and doing that and oh God, it's the greatest thing ever find.
Well, I mean, and this is where the Ministry of Trade and they should be doing their work because okay, it is one thing to know that, but it's the next thing to be able to mobilize farmers to set up the kind of farming structure and production process that would allow them to have access to that market. You know what I mean? So the average person who probably farming South might know how to do that.
And I think the average person who farming South do even know that's all going on in the States. If you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
Because I'm not sitting on social media or scrolling through TikTok to see these videos.
Right. So that's what the Ministry of Trade, this is what they should be avidly involved in on a regular basis, trying to make those linkages, seeing things those trends that are taking place outside and seeing how they could mobilize farmers and producers down here to be able to access those markets. Now, again, to be fair to them, they'd probably say that they do have programs and this and that and the other, but how are they performing?
Right.
And at some point in time, somebody has to take responsibility for why are these things not making headway?
Right, and that's the thing. Who is checking up on these things to make sure that it's doing what you're paying all the money for it to do?
Well, and this is the last thing I'll probably say that would be of some positive government is that to call members credit, he's saying that listen, there's a program where we provide Forex to Exim Bank, and Exim Bank makes that Forex available specifically to local manufacturers, right? Who will have to purchase the input products and so on to manufacture and then export. And he's saying that the Exim Bank has put out a report, and the CEO was confirming that recently, that essentially those companies that they're providing Forex to are repatriating more Forex than they're being given by Exim Bank. So, in other words, they're making it work. They are taking the Forex to purchase the input, producing a final product, and bringing back more Forex when they export it than they actually being given by Exim Bank. So they would say, all right, that's one way.
That's one thing that works.
That's one way, which is why that's what I was saying. To them, it's not. They're not just kicking the can down.
Yeah, they're doing things. They
are saying that they are making headway. And as I keep saying, to be fair to them, the people who have been saying the shit will hit the fan have been saying the shit will hit the fan since 2016. And shit didn't hit the fan yet.
Right.
Yeah. So at some point I started looking at them like, hey, I thought all they say that, the collapse of this whole system was right around the corner. You know what I mean? I ain't seen it yet. So I'll stop on that because I don't want to continue praising. Couldn't really start for anybody.
So my thing is, there are some other little things that can be done. And hopefully we start to see it, because the next thing we could get into is exporting cars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you always talking about that.
Yeah. Right? It have a huge market to get plenty Forex. It has to get plenty for exchange for certain cars.
Yeah.
Even if you had to sell cars to smaller islands or sell them to Guyana and them kind of places, we ain't talking about bad car, right?
Yeah.
That is something that we could look at, because that could help. So that's some things we could do. We just need to put our heads to the ground. And
before we move on to the next topic, as we talking Forex and we talking US, now it would be remiss of us not to mention the talk now that the US dollar losing its status as the world reserve currency. People saying get rid of your US, sell your US. It's just know that ain't gonna be worth, the paper it printed on, best use it to wipe your bum, see thing, right? Plenty of people out there frightened. You saw the video from the president of Kenya telling people to get rid of the US?
No way.
Yeah, wait, that was wild.
But I mean,
pretty wild.
Them on that side, them they're like, they have a dread battle with the US right now, dog.
Well, I didn't see the full video, so I didn't see context in which he was speaking, but he was like, yeah, let me give you some free advice. If you're US, get rid of it. Whoa. I find that was real reckless to be saying out here. But we'll come to whether they have a dread war, you know. But the more important thing is how you feel about.
To be honest, it is something I definitely I kind of watching to see how it go. I listening out here, my ears open. Like I watched a video last night. Where a guy was saying he's American, he believe in America, he love America, but he say things ain't looking good. He pushing, hey, listen, I think people should buy gold, silver, crypto, right? That's what he's saying. You see, them things go at least hold their value, right?
Not necessarily crypto.
Yeah, because we see crypto fall off.
Well, not. I mean, crypto would have fallen off relative to the US dollar. But what they're saying now is that if the US dollar becomes useless, you're going to need something to trade. And crypto, because crypto values are going up right now anytime there's anything that puts money like fiat currency at risk, cryptocurrency goes up, because the argument for crypto is that this holds value while these fiat currencies, governments playing the ass with that, printing that whenever they want, so that could be become useless. But the thing is, I think they will move to ban crypto.
Right.
So what they will move to they'll do a lot of things to marginalize the use of private cryptocurrencies. They want their cryptocurrency, their digital currency, to be what people use. So the only problem would be if they now the avid Bitcoin lovers will tell you there's nothing they could do to stop it, right? And I guess to some extent that's true. But if people notice, dog, if they do a very good job of making people feel like people who want to trade in crypto are criminals and they're undermining the economic system, some people will use it, but it's not going to be extremely valuable.
I think something else we had to realize, which we will touch on in the quick shots later, right? Dog, you see the people in high places, whether it be in the US, whether it be in the UK, or wherever, they've been taking losses just so now.
Yeah.
They're not willing to take losses just so. And I think that's something that we have to recognize now. And I feel some of them, before they lose, they will sing this whole ship down.
They'll turn the table over there. The whole cat.
The whole cat. Everybody could suffer.
Yeah.
Them fellas don't seem like, oh, all right, we go take this look.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't feel that's how it working. For them fellas, dog.
Well, I mean, that's as rational as they come. Why would they take losses? As long as they have influence, and they would have influence because they're big money people, why would they be the ones they don't want to be the ones holding the bag of excrement when it's all over. So yeah, you're right. I think the in terms of, because we talking about Forex and because all this foreign exchange we're talking about is largely funds being held in the US, right? And the big question is, that might become useless just now. What are we fighting up with all that for? But we started run on yuan or where's the actual name of the currency in China?
I forget the name of it, but it's a weird name.
Benmi.
It's something, it's a weird name.
Benmi, yeah. Right. But anyway, there's just refer to it as the yuan. I don't know why. But anyway, that.
Oh yeah, by rubles.
Nah, yuan. Rubles. I ain't too sure about that. I understand. Stuck by. Listen, I don't know. I'm certainly not no economic expert. Not an expert on this. But I just know that a lot of those countries, those BRIC nations. But we should mention that the reason people are saying this is because of different moves being made recently. China, in talks with Saudi Arabia to start to trade oil in yuan. Some Saudi oil producers are kicking up a fuss saying them don't want a yuan. So what China is doing is China is offering to have the yuan directly backed by gold, because they have some humongous gold reserves too, right? So they want to make when they're doing those particular deals, they want to give the Saudis the ability to convert the yuan to gold directly, should they want to. But they're going to be denominated in yuan. But the yuan they're using specifically for those deals are going to be pegged to gold, right? So obviously that's going to undermine the petrodollar, which is the main reason why the US has maintained its dominance over the world with respect to it being used as a reserve currency. China recently brokered a deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran, two countries that are supposed to hate each other, at the core. and they were able to negotiate some sort of deal with them, between them, and obviously the point of that is to build the economic cooperation so that they will then start to trade with China in the currency that they want to. And then the BRICS nations, because they had South Africa now, came out recently and they announced that they're working on something, right? They're working on developing a currency. They don't know if they will if they will all start to trade in yuan, or they'll make a specific currency for that purpose. And so that's what has everybody antsy and feeling as if the US currency will soon no longer be the dominant player that it is, and obviously will be immediately devalued.
Right.
Right?
Now, I was watching a video with Valuetainment, right? And one of the things one of the fellas was pointing out is that if you watch the team of countries in there, there's some real shaky countries too, in terms of the countries themselves now, boy. They all have their own weird issues. Apparently they say Brazil is a real corrupted country.
More corrupted than the US?
Well, I don't know.
I think I didn't see the video you're talking about, but I'm pretty sure I know who you're talking about, because he said it a million times. Is that Charlie Kirk fella?
I can't remember his name. But
From some Turning Point USA.
he does be on Valuetainment.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
but I've heard him talk about he trying to basically downplay all the nations within the within BRICS. Listen, he's a kind of jingoistic kind of clown to me, you know, and everything America, one of them kind of idiot. So he was, Brazil is a very corrupt country, but America isn't.
And then you see, China have the issues with the government and the dictatorship thing, and what he was trying to say is that there's only a very few amount of people in China who actually support the government, who support Xi Jinping.
Listen.
So I don't know. As I say, I spending more time listening and trying to understand.
All that bullshit. All that is trying to downplay the threat that it poses. No, I don't. Again, I know no experts on me. They could be. They're much brighter than I would be. Not that guy.
Yeah.
The world leaders involved here probably be much brighter than I am, or advised by much people much brighter than I am. So, but I just know that a lot of these countries do still hold a lot of the reserves in the US. China in particular, they have lots. So if they did something that immediately devalued the US dollar tomorrow, that's their asset base gone.
Right. Yeah,
you know what I mean? And they're also owed US by the United States. The United States, that is the United States is their biggest debtor, right? And so if they did something that immediately devalued the US currency, it means the US could just pay them back. When we borrowed this money, it was worth a lot, but no, it's chicken shit. So look your money back, because they would be paying back in the US because that's what they borrowed.
Right.
So I don't know that they would make any moves that would make it like suddenly take place that the US will be dog shit by next year. But I certainly think that they are working to make it at the very least a multipolar world, if not a unipolar world, just on that side, as opposed to on the West. And could the US currency be unseated? Of course it could. Right? Hell not. But I don't know if it's gonna happen tomorrow or next year.
But I think Beirut thing something to consider as well is, something when they say that too much cooks in the pot, boy. You understand? I say something
with the BRICS nations.
Yeah, you understand?
No, because there are too many. There are lots of cooks in the pot, but they all being led by one team, one person. That's China. China is just being what the US used to be, and they're going around, but they're doing it without lifting guns, which is what the US would have done. The China is doing it. We will be your partner. You don't need to. The US, they keep printing currency, devaluing the currency, and making it more expensive for you, because when they wreck the economy, you to suffer. You really want to live under that? And most countries are like, no, I don't. So how about we come together and, tell America, fuck you. You know what I mean? And people will be like, yeah. So those countries that are coming together, they're simply setting up a trading bloc. They're not coming together to build one hegemony, one big, superpower. They're all just, China is bringing them to the table and saying, hey, let me do our thing. And we could do our thing without them, because them not working for you, them working for them. So let's all try to work for us. I don't see nothing wrong with that. And I don't think that any of those, that's half the world's population then.
No, I'm not saying I see anything wrong with it. I just studying how long will, you know, all these people coming together, will they stay together to actually follow through with whatever the plan is?
Well, I mean, hasn't America been doing that? America has 1 million allies across the world. Didn't they keep it together for a long time?
Yeah, but somehow it does feel like that is a superpower that we just don't understand. That's a superpower that
Well, I think China has a better chance of keeping people together because they don't bully in the same way that the US does.
right.
Right? I think China has a much better strategy. China's like, listen, I'm not trying to spread my culture to you. Because that's another thing. Remember, America goes around the world trying to make everybody like them.
Yeah, which is one of the points I was gonna come to, in terms of what I was telling you, that because I think that's where we're starting to see a lot of pushback from the African nations and
Right, yeah.
because they know like horse,
Yeah.
all their culture, all they're pushing it on us,
Yeah.
and we fed up us.
Yeah, we done with that.
Right?
We done with that.
And so that's what I was saying,
Yeah.
you know, them right now, they starting to get them real pushback now, but.
And countries don't get out with China. China are interested in spreading the culture anyway.
Well, not as yet, at least.
I don't think they ever will be. I don't think they ever will be which is why they might not ever be as powerful as the US because, first of all, they don't have an attractive culture.
Right.
They don't have a culture that's easily transported. Nobody speaks Mandarin, right? In Arsenal. Nobody, it's a very difficult language to learn. It's not like English. You know what I mean? Or any of the languages that would have been derived from Latin is not an easy language to learn, to read or to speak. I think the only thing worse than that is Arabic, you know. So or one of them versions of Pashto or whatever them languages them in the Middle Eastern regions. Apart from that, I think Chinese and Japanese are the hardest thing to learn. And they have a very conservative culture, so that's not something that's going to spread around the world. People are going to be all of a sudden starting to watch Chinese soap operas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't think they're interested in doing that. They simply want to, they're interested in keeping you economically dependent on them. You know, and I think that's what and to the point you're making, all those countries, those African nations, they are happy like, all right, cool. There's an investment. You come and invest here and okay, yes. If we can't pay back, you'll take this, you'll take that, you'll take the other. But that's how financial transactions should go. Not in order to get money from you, I had to pass some law in my country to allow X, Y, or Z to happen more. You know, you trying to push your values onto me. No, you're not. They're not trying to be that. And so for that reason, it's far more likely that they'll stay together as opposed to the US, where the US went around trying to be I don't think China is going to try to be the world police. China not going to you don't have democracy by you. Well, we'll send some planes over and bomb some people. So I feel whatever, and probably at this stage it's probably when China is going to supersede the US, right? I think when that happens, I don't think you're going to see anything like what you see in the empire is so emanate from the United States. I don't think you're going to see that from the Eastern countries.
I mean, it'll be interesting because I think a big point they make there is cultures, and I think the American culture for a while is a culture that really will. Some of the biggest movies in the world.
Not for a while, it still does.
Right?
And it probably will, even when China becomes a bigger super economic power.
And then to think about it, even a lot of people who in charge of American culture, they kind of bow into China. They want the Chinese
market.
Market.
To the China's
yeah, so then technically, even though they in charge of culture, they still want.
No, but the thing is, what people would say, the conspiracy theorists would say, is that China controls Hollywood, but they only allow the Hollywood content that reaches Chinese shores is very sterilized, right? But they would fund a lot of production, but the Hollywood production that would undermine Chinese culture don't reach China.
Right.
It stays in America, and well, wherever America spreads it to. So all the cultural nonsense that comes along with American content and media, it doesn't reach China.
The colorful content.
Yes, the colorful content.
Yeah, the colorful content.
Yes, the kaleidoscope of content.
Yeah,
right? That don't reach there, right? But it may very well be being funded by them because that's what they want to happen over there.
Right.
They want it over there. They want that kind. They want the division the arguments and degradation of the society, they want that over there.
Right. So then he could come and take control.
Right. Because you're a weaker country. You're fighting amongst yourself. You don't have you don't have people who are focused on nation building. You have people who are arguing about
genders
and if trends should watch drag queens twerking, and you understand, that's happening over there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So they want that to keep happening over there.
Which takes us to the next topic, TikTok.
Right. Well, no, we ain't talking about bounty and them again.
Oh well, now we could probably dabble on that quick because we kind of on that topic now because remember some people are saying that TikTok was made to
undermine
the Western society.
Yes,
so
particularly America.
By Chinese.
Yes.
So
well, it is a Chinese app.
Yeah,
and it is run by a Chinese man. I believe he's Chinese. Yeah, he is Chinese. And it's owned. The parent company is a Chinese company. So right, well, quickly they have problems right now because the CEO is being. I'm not sure if it's the CEO or other like senior members of staff and directors or executives, but the CEO for sure. I saw a few of his the grillings he got from members of Congress in the States because there's been a huge pushback against TikTok in the United States on the basis that it's not just that it's undermining the social fabric of Americans, but it's being used to spy, for spying purposes. For the it's collecting an unusually large amount of data on American citizens, and the company is controlled by the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP. That is the argument that's being put forward. The CEO is denying it. He's claiming that he was completely unaware that the parent company. I try to remember what was the name of the parent. You remember the name of the parent company?
Nah, I can't remember that.
Well,
Binance or something. No, not Binance.
Nah, but Binance is a crypto company. Yeah. Byte something. Yeah. Anyway, they apparently they have real close ties with the CCP, and so the argument is a company that is connected with an American enemy, an enemy of America in the eyes of many Americans. China is an enemy, a hostile nation, and a company that's collecting all of that digital data on U.S. citizens is connected with the CCP. I don't know if you saw any of the question.
I saw some of them.
He faced, right? How you find he was holding up?
I think he was holding up like them was dumb. Like the people was asking questions like they were dumb. He was like, because I think a lot of the questions that were asked, it seemed like they didn't understand what they were asking. You understand? It seemed like they know what they want to get to, but they didn't know how to ask the questions. So I find he held up. Pretty decent.
Boy, you see different ones to me because the ones I saw, first of all, they caught him lying a couple of times when he pretended that he was unaware that somebody on the board of the parent company is closely aligned with the CCP. Claimed he didn't know that, and then I can't remember who it was. I don't know if it was that Dan Crenshaw fella, the fella with the eye patch, the congressman in the States. I think it's he that like, no, but we have information here with you commenting on that particular person's picture or some shit like that, showing that you should be aware that they had some kind of connection, and he didn't look too good, He was kind of batting down the questions about why his children don't use it. And you're saying his children live in Singapore, and in Singapore they don't allow children under 13.
Yeah.
But then he's asked, so why would they not allow it in Singapore? You don't find that strange? Well, and he could have answered the question by simply saying, listen, we had to, what the Singaporean government would have mandated, we think it's safe, but, and we're negotiating to bring it down to allow under 13s in Singapore. But, for now, the government,
it's their country and that's what they want to do.
Yeah, right. And so we acquiesced because that is how we would gain access, but we are constantly moved. Now, he didn't answer like that. He kind of answered this kind of mealy mouth kind of way, like, well, if my children were here, then they would be using the app. It's like, would they? That's how I said. So I found he was performing poorly, right? And I think it is going to reach the stage where they will propose a ban. I don't know if it will be, because I see AOC is supporting it. You know what I mean? So it means that it's because it's not just Republicans pushing it. You know what I mean? Now, some conspiracy theory. No, I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory because it's been reported in mainstream newspapers that a lot of the anti-TikTok lobbying is being pushed by Facebook.
Right.
And
Instagram, I see this
right?
now. Yeah.
Right? So they may be drumming up the anti-TikTok sentiment so that they could push TikTok out so that they could replace it with some kind
because what they're saying is that TikTok giving them a little more freedom of speech.
Right.
You understand? They can say a little more things on TikTok.
Serious, I didn't know that.
Well, that's what they're saying. And they're saying Facebook wants to work with or the Democrats closely aligned with Facebook and Instagram and these things. And so as a result, they need to kind of shut down anything that they don't have control over in the messaging that coming out now, boy.
Who is saying that? The Republicans?
Well, I've heard people saying, I don't know if they were Republicans or Democrats, well, or just independents.
Okay.
Right? Because one people are saying, you know, one of the reasons they everybody hate Elon Musk right now is because he kind of reintroduced free speech now, boy.
Right.
And then TikTok coming on and kind of distributed free speech.
I thought TikTok was worse. People tell me how TikTok even worse with like certain ideologies can be challenged and people getting like their stuff removed from TikTok for saying things that are completely benign and you know. So I always thought TikTok was worse. I thought TikTok was in terms of restricting speech, but I would just think that Facebook would want it out because it's competition. Because and you don't want to when you're playing catch up with an act like TikTok, you always look like a failure.
Yeah.
Instagram could try to innovate after TikTok and it just always be
they're
following. So if you remove TikTok completely from the platforms in the States, then okay, well, either go to Instagram for and so whoever modification Instagram makes now, or they'll just make a completely new app and that will take over. So I don't know if, well, that's what they're saying. They're saying that they are the ones funding it. But either way, I think it will be banned. I do think it would reach, and because if it's bipartisan now, if you see Democrats saying agreeing that it should be banned, or at least severely monitored.
And then they have on the next side China and them trying to do things with their own currency and all kind of things. And then all I hear everything locked down. You understand?
And I think once TikTok is banned in the States, I think it would be you could I started off by saying I don't know if you'll have a TikTok family.
Yeah.
No, you say, well, that in the States, but I don't think the app will survive if it no longer in the States. I think it will start to lose if creators from the States can't put content there. It will just shift across to wherever replaces it, be it if Instagram innovates or they get a new app.
You see, the thing is with TikTok, boy, to be real honest with you, gone way on TikTok. But TikTok have a way that even like I can scroll through TikTok for an hour and not come across any American content. You know what I'm saying? And mainly see Trini content and Caribbean content, you know. It like I tell you, the algorithm real bad, you know. So even if America fall off, I think they could still hold the interest of some people, and the people who remain on, the countries that remain on. So I don't think it will fall off as like one time now. You understand? It's like how we're on Instagram and they scroll on Instagram, you still see plenty of American content. If you go on the explore feed or even if it's scrolling and just they slipping some things, it'll still be American content. Now with TikTok, I'm not like that. TikTok is real kind of tailor the stuff. So probably my wife, and she don't really get much American content. She get plenty European content because she's more into nails and them European people is real do their nails thing. But there is real tailor the shit to suit you now, boy, dog, boy. It's one of the best tailored algorithms I come across. So you see, I mean, you see, all they wouldn't like Trump. Trump was trying to get rid of TikTok a long time. Trump was trying to put the Chinese in place a long time. So now all the Chinese come and gain and set up power and now they're fighting from, I'm not going to say from behind there, but that goes somewhere. But you understand?
Yeah, no, they're playing catch up. Right, let's deal with this music thing. Bounty do an interview, but I talk dancehall. Half praise Afrobeats, because people say he messed up Afrobeats by saying our lyrics, right? It caused us still. Mr. Vegas apparently had a real problem with it. Well, apparently, I saw his video talking about it. He was incensed, right? What are your thoughts on the interview itself first, before we go into the whether, if people should be angry about the rise of Afrobeats, jealous, upset, or they should just see it as, well, it's Afrobeats time or whatever, right? What do you think of the interview? That's the whole thing.
Listen, first of all, I don't know why he's talking in the accent in the interview. With his weird
dancehall. Dancehall.
Yeah,
Not dancehall.
Yeah, he's talking that weird accent. I don't know why he's doing that, but I Jordan Price, you pick up yourself.
Dancehall.
Listen, my thing is, he came out and he gave his perspective, and we had the conversation off air, obviously. And no, I don't know if you'll bring up these points here saying that, and a lot of the things that he is kind of bad talking in the interview, bad things about dancehall, is a lot of things that they would have started and pushed and promoted. My thing on it is it could be possible that they realize that what they started and where it reached. Now we're looking back at it. He's looking back at it as an elder and realizing, wait, this is not the direction you should be going in. That is dealing with the dancehall thing. In terms of the point he made with Afrobeats, I can't say I fully support him. I understand what he's saying, but the thing is, Afrobeats plenty times there are different languages in it, and
plenty times always has a different language.
And I don't know. So I can't say don't know lyrics because I don't understand what they say.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So that's unfair for me to say you don't know lyrics if I don't understand what you say.
Yeah.
Because you could be probably spitting the jealous lyrics, but I just don't understand.
Yeah.
What you're saying, right?
No, I agree. They're some of the biggest tunes. Even if you can't understand what they're saying, you know you're repeating that word. You know?
Right? But I mean, as I say, to some extent I understand he had a point with melodies and catchy, if you don't say phrases. I mean, there is a lot of Afrobeat is a decent beat. A soca-like beat, and as we'll always say, some people say, oh, we don't like we own thing, blah. Yeah, them people on TikTok. So it's difficult for you to play soca and somebody not move.
Right.
You don't tap your foot or something.
Yeah.
This is a very similar thing with Afrobeat.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to play that beat and it not move you in some way or the other. Yeah. So I think they have a recipe and a formula that working for them.
To the point of a lot of things he bringing up were things that he was guilty of, and he always does that. He always does that when he was, and that's why I really rate him as an artist. He was one of my favorite artists as a youth. But every time he has to speak as an elder, I don't rate it because he does a lot of talking on his side of your mouth, but not taking accountability. Because the first time I heard him do it was with Tommy Lee and them, right? When Tommy Lee and them was doing the Sparta thing and the little imagery and what he was calling Satan thing and everything, right? And he say there are no place in dancehall. Dancehall about love, and dancehall about love. You sing bad man kill for fun. So you tell me you could sing about killing human beings, but he can't have what you think is an Illuminati symbol in a video or a weird mask. Now, none of them saying anything about worshiping Satan, right? It's just the imagery.
Well, then he call himself Uncle Demon. And if he...
Yeah, but he didn't say anything about worshiping Satan. It was just the imagery, right? It was just the imagery in the videos, right? But you were saying about killing human beings, bro. So that was glorifying God. You know what I mean? He started with God belong in dancehall. But bro, you were singing about killing people, my lord. What are you talking about? No accountability for understanding that the youths are just they're taking extremes. You were extreme in your time. Because to somebody who was 40, 45 when you came out, there's like, why are you singing about killing people, bro? Prior to you, dancehall music was about fun, love, melody, and then we had reggae, which was conscious, right? You coming and saying, well, killing people, bro, we never know that. And people killing people in Jamaica for years, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, well, we singing about the environment. When Jimmy Cliff was a big artist, people was killing people. You know what I'm saying? Political violence was a big thing in Jamaica. So...
They shoot Bob Marley.
Right, precisely, exactly. They killed Garnet Silk, right? So badness and violence has been a part of Jamaican life for a long time. But men never used to sing about it. Your generation come and start to glorify badness. And now you vex now that the next step, because if we sing about badness, we feel like about that. So now I go and sing badness and I go and, what could you use now? Could you, this imagery?
Well, I mean, to be fair, well, not to be fair, but this era we in is a visual era. Right. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, and that is where you had to catch people attention.
Exactly.
Now it's more image.
We fed up to video with gun and man with bandana and so how I going and stand out now? So Tommy Lee had his vibes, right? He didn't take any responsibility for his role in developing that bullshit, right? And just want to criticize the youths. Same thing with this.
But do you think though that based on what he did, right, and what he doing, he think it's so different that he don't think that came from him? If you understand what I say.
Because he's not thinking. And because he don't want to accept no accountability, right? Because like most older people, what I did was okay, what I did was justifiable. When you do it, you understand what I'm saying? Because the man went on a whole tirade about how men singing carnal argument. It's only carnal argument. Chop a tune. Man don't know about that. So when you were singing, boy, run come up in a me magnum, boy, a man in Lithuania, he could have related to that? He know about your he just pull out his magnum and shoot people with it. But how was you? You was the lord of badness, bro. You understand what I'm saying? And dancehall was making waves at that point in time. So it wasn't limiting it then, so why limiting it now? You understand? Bounty behaving like if all of his music was internationally known.
Yeah, well, I think... But I think that's a human flow. Because Cartel did the same thing. You know what I'm saying? When Cartel was in the interview and they tell him what the influence he have on the people with his music.
Yeah.
And he say, I'm just an artist.
Yes. But when he sing about Clarks and Man by Clarks, he say, I make Man by Clarks.
Yeah.
Right? I get no accountability. But that's why, but then people not going to, especially if you're trying to talk to youths, not going to listen to you. What are you telling me about? I can't sing badly, but I only used to sing, bro. That is all you used to sing. You are the only tunes that Bounty Killer did that really reached outside the Jamaican diaspora was Hip Opera with Fugees, the song with Mobb Deep and them, and Stepping Out the Deadly Zone Against the Killer on your own, right? That and the one with No Doubt.
Right, yeah.
That was the only 3 tunes I could say that Bounty Killer sing that reached outside of the Jamaican diaspora. And, people who like dancehall in general, the West Indies, the West Indian diaspora, right? Was Bounty sing that was like that was reaching people all over in a big way. Because not Tommy Lee, I saw Skeng and them could go and perform in...
Well, Skeng when they're performing somewhere in Europe, there with thousands and thousands of white people and sing wap and...
Right.
Shelly Bliss.
That's what that Skelly yeah, right. So it's not like if dancehall doesn't reach because he perform all over the world, but them artists could perform all over the world too. I'm sure he could ask men like Alkaline and all, they'll tell everybody perform in Lithuania.
But the thing is he when he talk, is he talking about them or is he talking about is that sort of other young lads or artists that we don't know?
In Jamaica.
Yeah, in Jamaica, that not really reaching nowhere.
Right.
But then talking about they getting fight, don't talking about it,
Well, I would suppose that even his generation had a lot of artists that wasn't getting away. There was always that. So if we're talking about dancehall not reaching anywhere anymore, what we're talking about is it was never the norm for a dancehall artist to be internationally known. Him and Beanie Man were unusual, and then Shaggy and Sean Paul was ridiculously unusual, right? But it was never really that the average dancehall artists used to be known all over the world, and that song used to be topping Billboard charts all over.
Yeah.
No, that was never the case. So the first thing is, again, I don't even know why people just accept the premise, right? Is Afrobeats taking over the world? I don't really think so. I think Afrobeats at this point in time, it's popular.
That's what we know. Yeah,
there are some hit songs, but is any Afrobeats tune right now much bigger than when Sean Paul was in his prime? I'm not so sure. When Sean Paul was doing something like Temperature and thing, dog, them was humongous, humongous. Them song was Billboard chart toppers. You know what I mean? So
you know when you think like Get Busy and thing, them thing that stay on BT #1 and thing for weeks and thing.
Exactly. So I mean, okay, this fella who sing "Calm Down," all right, that tune is monstrous. That tune is monstrous, right? And Burna Boy, Wizkid, they had a few runs, right? And yes, Afrobeat is experiencing some growth. But is it taking over where dancehall?
Well, I think sometimes people get caught up in terms of, sometimes when they watch the numbers, they might get caught up where I remember Africa is a big place. Right? So just people in Africa, in the different countries, supporting the music on its own will give you bigger numbers.
They have much Nigeria, Ghana, if you just West Africa alone, that diaspora across the world is humongous. So all that has happened now is a kind of music has caught their eye. So the ones the Africans living abroad who might have been before would have been, if they're living in the UK, they would have been into wherever UK garage or jungle, and now UK hip hop and drill and whatever. Now they have their own sound. Now they Afrobeats is to be fair, Afrobeats has always been a thing. You could have always gone to Afrobeats dance. Even when I was there in the UK, there were Afrobeats dance parties, right? South Africans used to support the music, but now I guess is even bigger.
Yeah, it's at a touch a little more places,
right? But the bare fact that the African diaspora is much larger than any Caribbean or Jamaican diaspora.
They will tell you is a similar thing with the Latin people, because what is this fella name? Bad Bunny.
Yeah,
they say Bad Bunny numbers.
Because any reggaeton tune, any reggaeton artist, you go on YouTube, nothing less than 1 billion on almost every video, This fella, Osuna.
Yeah.
Dog, you can't watch that one. Songs you never hear in your life. And them thing, in terms of YouTube figures, them things stupid. Because there's so many Spanish speakers all over the world. Nearly all of South America, all of Latin America, Mexico,
Spain. 50% of Trinidad.
Yeah. They have 1 million people that speak that language and could relate with the music. So, I try to remember this next guy named by Ogo. He's the next one who and J Balvin and them fellas. Them fellas monstrous. The numbers large because we don't speak Spanish and we not into reggaeton and neither, so we don't know about it. But them fellas numbers monstrous. So the fact that the average Burna Boy though get 1 billion views is kind of confusing because it's the whole Africa he talking to and black people everywhere, So it kind of confusing that even what was the last big one?
Last,
right? Yeah. I don't think that hit 1 billion views yet on YouTube.
Nah, I feel so, man. I feel so. You can check and see. But no, this brings you back to the point that I've been arguing with people with soca for years. When I don't want to call any artist name, but when a few of the artists were trying to turn the soca a little techno-ish, little dance, I was like, what's why they doing that? And I was always against it. I understand what you were doing. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have that type of music, but that should not have been all.
180 million views. Bro.
Serious.
From 10 months ago, the official Burna Boy video, the one the one on his page,
right?
180 million views, dog. So when you consider that, is that even that monstrous? Bro?
Yeah. So animals here all on.
No. Let's not get ridiculous. No disrespect to Swanee.
But still, dog. If you think about if this might be wild, but if you say per capita, So and he could be doing better than him, man.
The people he's speaking to, the people
he's speaking to,
the people his primary, because I mean, just even if Burna Boy is supported by just Nigeria alone, it should be, because Nigeria is a monstrous country. I think Nigeria is 100 million people, right?
Right.
So Nigeria alone should be sending him wild. And then then there's Nigerians all over the world.
Yeah, yeah.
The UK, Nigeria. So he should be, so maybe you're right. Maybe Swanee per capita might be doing better.
But so that's the point I was making with soca, that listen, you keep your thing authentic. As I say, we're not saying you can't do some fusion things and can't mix up everything every now and again and whatever, right? That's fine. Show your versatility and cool. But it's important to keep your thing authentic, because one day, but the same way Afrobeats started to spread or has spread across the world now.
Yeah.
Soca will do that one day.
Eventually.
You just gotta get time there. Just calm down.
Yeah. We are from a tiny little island, and yes, soca, if you count the other little tiny islands that are soca loving islands, we come up to what? Maybe 3 million people, if so much. So dog, the fact that you're not taking over the world, you shouldn't be expecting to do that. There's a tiny, I mean, yes, you could say, well, Jamaica is a tiny country and their music is okay, great. But that's not an anomaly. I think, we were just talking about China earlier. China is the most populated country in the world.
China or India?
China's still ahead.
Yeah.
They're still ahead, marginally. But you can make the same point with India. Does India have some culture that they've exported that has taken over the whole world? No. Only Indians just follow the diaspora. Just follow their films, their music, their whatever. You know what I mean? There's no Indian artists or Indian music that's taken over on Hot 100 Billboard charts. You know what I mean? So, and these are countries with billions of people, and they cannot formulate something that is capturing the imagination of the entire world. So, why you expect that this thing that we make in here should be, what we should do is make things we like and stop looking for foreign acceptance. If and when it comes, it comes.
And as I say, it will come. It will come.
Is Nicky Jam was the fella I was trying to remember, right? Again, he have a tune that is not big for him is 144 million views. Everything here billions. 1.4, 1.5, 1.1, everything on 621 million is that's small tune. That's it. So these are monstrous numbers, but simply because of the size of the diaspora, this number of people that they would be speaking to, the size of the market. So I don't think Bounty should be beaten up. Well, first of all, I mean, he did kind of start by saying, it not taking away anything from dancehall, and I think he should have stayed there. But he so wanted to criticize local criticize dancehall artists that he started to help himself.
I realize again, I real plenty these days, when people doing interviews, like what they have in their heart, they just want to put it out now. So they will start to answer the question they ask and going to like, whoa. You ask all of that, dog. Yeah, I seen that plenty these days.
But it's mad for me to hear a man who had his whole career was, he was known as the well, I mean, before he started calling himself Ground God, his name was Bounty Killer, bro. You know what I mean? So how you could now be fighting the youth and for singing badness? Like, what's wrong? What's wrong with you? And so, people can't understand them. Who could understand what you were saying? Who used to be in, who wasn't like an avid dancehall fan, who could have just, like, the casual listener would have been able to listen to what you were saying and repeat it.
Well, to be fair, I think now it's much worse. I mean, in terms of not understanding them. But I understand your point. Yeah, well, I mean, because long time our parents would be like, I don't understand what this is.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But even when I was still DJing and still playing dancehall, that's some song I was like, what the hell? They say when massacre and themselves and even putting ski and them like, oh, you're Trinidad, dog. I just understand you. You know what I'm saying?
True. But then for us,
I get a little
bit worse. But ultimately, but then he undermines his point by saying, by using the example of Afrobeats, because that's another, who knows what they're saying. Remember when you talking about Burna Boy, I was like, okay, fine, or they'll go and sing half the chorus and then hum the, because you don't know what it's saying. You don't know what he's saying. You don't understand the language. You have no clue. I mean, you can get the gist of the song, but you can't understand what he's saying. You can't properly sing along. Who could sing a Burna Boy word for word? Other than a Nigerian?
wife had a client who come at time and say she really like this Burna Boy song. And she says she thinks it's a real good song and she put it on here for us. And my wife was like, my wife and I watching each other like, what's we doing nothing, this man is saying. We don't really just study song. We don't know if it's a love song. We don't know if it's a banker song. We don't know. You understand? But she really loved this song. Alright, sis. Cool.
But so to the point, you know, with it's not about what you understand. Listen, Afrobeats is having its time. No, if you're saying that singing about violence will always limit your music, okay, all right, I get that. But to be fair, the dancehall tunes that used to make it big were the ones that wasn't about violence. Yes, also.
And everything will separate itself.
Yes.
And the cream will always rise it up.
And it has its place. Popcorn they still do tune for the ground. And then he's do tune that you could tell he want this one out there.
No, but the thing is, I think one of the arguments people would have is that a lot of them who doing the badness music, like this always do now, boy. Which is weird now. Like, and I could see that being weird to Bounty and them too, because they do plenty badness. They do some of the songs too.
Yeah.
But there's some fellas who they're not giving in nothing but badness
and vulgarity. Yeah. They will give you girl tune, but vulgar girl tune. But to be fair to them, that is the culture now. That is where it read. They can't do like, okay, Bounty drift away from badness would have been living dangerously with Barrington Levy, right? Man can't sing that kind of thing now because everything is skin out nanny.
Yeah.
Drop it in your hole. You understand what I'm saying? Them fellas, even if they wanted to sing something different, it was still sung the same way to us because it just it not the vibe ain't changed. The lyrical content might change. I listened to a skeng the other day, bro. And it was essentially a love song. But the amount of time the man sing about I will kill your man, it's just like, this is a love song, I listen.
Yeah.
When I say a love song, it's a girl tune.
Yeah.
She says a love song, it's a girl tune. A girl was singing any song, right? And the amount of time the man essentially sing, the girl calling she own man a pussy hole, and he saying he go kill your man, but it's a girl tune. You can tell from the beat, and that's supposed to be something you I show them each of them tune on when they're doing the business, you know what I mean? Because that's supposed to be, you can get that vibe from the song, but the lyrical content, bro, it's just, so those songs were different to how all the music, the song. So you might think, well, all the listeners bad, when they listen, oh, that's actually, he actually singing about girl, but those songs, like when Beanie was singing about girl, and you know, when Beanie was singing about girl, it was like tunes off a maestro, you know what I mean?
Well, that album was wicked, eh?
Bad for years and centuries, bro. That classic album, you know. So no, let me tell them producing like that now. But yeah, it's those songs like they doing anything different for real. All the singing, all this they staying within that vein. Even when they're not singing badness, the music singing like they're singing about badness, and the vulgarity, off-putting, but off-putting. You can't attract a half mature audience outside of Jamaica.
Yeah.
With them kind of thing, you're immediately turning people off.
I mean, I could understand why you would have some issues because, like, even right in Jamaica itself, you know, because like we lost long time, you would have still got Shakadimas and players and thing playing. But now, you know, what they're saying a while ago in the hotels, they didn't even bother into playing on them new music.
Yeah, because
they prefer upon guests
because it's song. You're frightening guests.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You play Skilly pregnant frightening. Like, why that man? No, that's Skilly. Skeng is the one who voices the song. Demonic though, like why listen to?
So I mean, that's why they have to play in the cast. They got to play cast.
And he feels he don't understand that them just singing for their time, and you were doing the same thing
for your time.
For your time. And if I'd gone back to your music and 95% of the music was like Living Dangerously, you know what I mean? That like that song, then I could understand. You say, what is he telling him? But dog.
And here, I could tell you, if it's a call Bounty, no. I'm frightened to say that. But if I was a call Bounty now and say, you're going to have a dub plate, I was killing dub plate. I feel you going to say, nah, boy, don't worry. Right? But Bounty do blacklist, man, because I still have some tune I want, right? I still have some tune I want to play. I don't know where I'm going to play them, but I just think it's something I don't have any box now, boy. Right? So, but yeah.
I know thinking even when you say sing about girl, you know long donkey cord.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that? That is just like what when the youth and them singing about girl now. Your tune, they just take that and everything is getting more extreme.
That was then you was pushing the limits back then.
Yeah.
And now the limits. Yeah.
Is you start by that? You sing a song called Long Donkey Cord though. So when men sing about tongue in your throat, that they just taking your lead.
Yeah, and when Sizzler wanted to kill them for that.
For
yeah.
For the argument and song. Yeah.
But then he sing pum pum pum. But then again, I understand why they don't promote oral.
He go say he don't promote that.
Yeah.
So he go say. Anyway, quick hits. Let me jump in quick. I will start with your partner Andrew Tate first.
Right.
I know your brethren. I know you is a supporter.
Well, I mean, I was talking to him yesterday about coming on the podcast, and you know, he say he's just reason for everything to
die
down.
Yeah. Well, boy, organize our fast, because the paper will roll in. Because I think he do a podcast yet, right?
Nah.
So the internet will break.
Yeah.
So if he come on the app 868, if you could link that scene, bro, I want all the forward. So yeah, bring Andrew, then. We'll talk to him in Romania and let me organize. But yeah, your brethren, he out.
Yeah.
Still in charge.
Still
on the house arrest. How you feel? You feel relieved?
I mean, it's not a matter really for me. I think I'm more confused than anything else because all this drama though, still in charge, man, or nothing. You're still doing whatever investigations you have to do and whatever. That's confusing. Like, is it that their criminal justice system just different to everybody else's own?
No. I don't know. I have no idea what their criminal justice system is like. But if it is one where this sort of thing is normal, then it's a dog shit criminal justice system. And I make no bones about that. Listen, what that's confusing me is that people who claim to be impartial have been saying for long as well. I have so much evidence against him. Don't get tied up. Don't let him hit you with our matrix talk and don't let him take them fellas. People like Abba and Preacher who've been, trying to say for the longest while. No, we just looking at the facts and the facts say, but if that is the case, why do you man can't get charged? To me, it is not confusing because I think it's exactly what he said it was. Now, if is, the matrix trying to put him in line, that might be that'd be a weird way to put it. But I think if they were not bogus charges, then he would have been charged.
You lay your charges and you go to court and...
Because bro, we talking about charged.
We ain't talking about convicted. We talking about just charge you, man.
Just charge. You can't even meet the evidential standard to even say that you could justify laying a charge against this person, and I'm supposed to believe that you have some sort of rock solid case. Now, I don't know whether the man did what you claim he did or not. But the point is, I think it's clear to me that you don't know that he did what he did. You know what I mean? Because if you did, you charge him. Punto final. So the mere fact that you have, and I think they only have him on house arrest because it will look too...
It look bad. Yeah, if they just let him go.
To simply release it.
Yeah.
So, okay, so it's confusing. The only thing that's confusing to me is that some people who claim to be very impartial have been claiming, because I'm not going to read them shit. I'm not going to sit down and read up on Andrew Tate's case. So I just hearing what people say. And some of these people claim that they're also impartial and, they're just about truth and they don't take no sides. I've been claiming, no, bro, I've been checking it out and it seems pretty clear cut to me. Well, then it can't be clear cut.
And my thing is this, right? And I big up Jeremy from the Quarter. I don't know if you ever watched the Quarter. I read but I something he has been saying. Listen, if the man did them things, okay, he should pay the price, right? But you see what that judicial system showing you right now?
Yeah.
That's not thing should ever be.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not should ever be.
Yeah, exactly.
So no matter how you feel about Andrew Tate, whether you think you shouldn't be supporting a judicial system like that now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And to me again, he would be charged. So it clearly states to me that exactly what he was saying is that these are trumped up charges and this is and I mean, he being very careful and saying not disrespect anybody from Romania or whatever, but okay, but that seems like that seems like a cartoon thing to me. How could he not be right about the Matrix trying to take him out? How could I see anything other than that? Because these people talk a whole lot about the man. When I say the Romanian press Sunday and the prosecutors have been making a whole lot of claims and allegations and and painting him in a particular light in the public. So you would think, okay, again, the minimum evidential standard to charge, they should have been able to get that. And then if, okay, there's some long extenuated case to drag it out, they would never get a conviction, but they could, at least they can like manufacture enough evidence to charge. Dog, give me a break now, dog. I don't want to hear nothing but he ever again doing that. You come on, man. And I've lost all trust now for people who I think who used to claim to be impartial. I think they just don't like the man.
Yeah.
I think they just don't like the man.
And listen, that is fair, but you see that I just come and said, no, I really don't like the man. I want to see the worst of them.
Yeah.
You understand? I don't like the man progress. I like how the man come up. However, that's fine. But my thing is, and I've always been saying, I just waited to hear what one. I was never there with the man. I didn't live with the man. So no, even from what he didn't do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
I mean, I still would have felt like there was a possibility that wherever, even if he was charged and tried and convicted, I'm always willing to believe that there could have been something more behind that.
Nah, but that is one. And two, as anybody will tell you, also if somebody want to take you out,
yes,
they could find something in your life.
Yes, like they've been doing with Trump. We talk about
right, which is what I was going to, and that is why I say, this thing wild now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they tried, so we got switch to Trump one time. Yeah. They January 6th, January 6th, January 6th, January 6th, January 6th, right? Mm-hmm. And then,
well, not just, first of all, Russia collusion. If he did collude, that would have been a crime. Right? Never found any evidence of that. Right. So that was the first. That was the first set of the first thing they were supposedly going to catch him dead to rights on. Never did. Right? Because if he did collude, that would have been a crime. Right? It would have just been embarrassing for him and something he would have been impeached for, but he would have been. That's criminal charges. So you could have done that. Right. Nothing given that. Then it was January 6th, January 6th, January 6th, January 6th, January 6th. Then it was
documents.
Was it classified documents. That did. No, he's being charged. We don't know yet. They still almost just like Andrew Tate. They don't want to tell it. They're just leaking what it might be related to. Up to now, you can't get the specific charge. What is going on, bro? What and why are people happy about this? Like, why are you? When I say happy, no, I know they don't like him and all that. I'm saying, but okay, but dog, doesn't this look like a kangaroo court system to you?
What?
Like,
you see,
what is wrong with you? Why can't you just, okay, all right, I don't like this man and this here. Oh God, what are we doing here?
And I think there's one of the major problems we face in life today now. In terms of, I think it's very important for people to recognize that when you support things like this because it's somebody you do like, the day the rabbit had the gun, the day when the people do like you, they could do you the same thing.
You break down the door to get the devil, nothing stops the devil from coming back through that hole to get you. God, just stop and think for 10 seconds now, bro. This man, they wanted him impeached because they got him impeached, I should say, because they claim he was trying to dig up dirt on his opposition when Joe Biden was a candidate to become president. And that was unfathomably unethical to them. But you don't think it's unethical or it's going to appear extremely impartial for you to now be seeking to arrest the guy who's likely to be running against next thing. No, they're going to claim that Biden not doing this. This is, some man in New York, the DA in New York, whatever. Okay, fine. The U.S., okay, to be fair to them, the U.S. government, well, I shouldn't say the government, Joe Biden's cabinet or administration isn't doing this. But God, let's be 100% real here. We all know that this is not happening independent of the Democrat Party's involvement.
It's in a democratic state.
Right. And the DA is a Democrat. Right? So nobody is going to convince me that he's doing that while people are trying to tell him, no, dog, that will look real bad. Real, real bad. And if you were bringing this man on charges for murder, okay, you're bringing him on charges for embezzlement, large amounts of money, okay. We're bringing him, and the most this could be is some kind of misrepresentation of campaign funds or what the fuck are we doing, bro? Now, think about this, right? Because some people are saying they're doing this so they could probably start to build a case on him in some other way, right? They sometimes just do that. They'll bring a charge so that they could arrest you and then start to investigate, they have reason now to start poking around. So now we really want to find him on X or Y or Z, but this is what we could get him for now. So we started, but he has been under that microscope since he's been there, right? The Russia collusion investigation unearthed a whole set of stuff. Remember, Red Men get locked up in that.
Yeah, Red Men give his friends lawyer.
The man who's turning against him now, who's supposedly giving evidence against him now with the Stormy Daniels thing, is his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, right? Yeah. Who was locked up into that situation. They never got him. They would have gone through everything he did with a fine-tooth comb. They would have locked up people and threatened. Because they say, okay, well, I have you now. Yeah. You don't want to go to jail. Roger Stone. You don't want to go to jail? Give me what I want to know. And they still were not able to find enough to criminally charge this man. So I don't think this is any way you call it, we're pulling him in this so that we can, hopefully in our investigation we could unearth something that would.
But the people who do know, the US election is next year.
Yeah.
Right? And I think all this is to shake him and his campaign and
well, people saying they must have known that it would make him more popular, right? Which it has. So, and it doesn't stop him from running next year anyway, right? It's not going to stop him from raising funds. It will only galvanize support for him. And they must know that. They should have known that.
But they should have, yeah.
Because people were saying it. Even when there was talk of him being charged, it was, dog, you're not going to do that because now you're going to make sure that he's going to win the election, right? No.
But I think some people is be blinded by their idea.
It could be they're blinded by hate for him. I heard somebody say today that maybe they feel they want him to run because they're afraid Ron DeSantis more than him.
Oh, okay.
So they want to build his profile so he gets
he go through on the Republican side.
Yeah, he gets through the primary, and they think he's easier to beat than
Ron DeSantis.
And I think they might be right. A lot of people disagree with that, but I think with Ron DeSantis they get all the good of Trump without the bad, and he's harder to paint as the boogeyman because, let's be honest, people didn't vote for Joe Biden; they voted against Donald Trump. So you bring him back and do the same thing, and make it, well, this is the boogeyman. We can't let the boogeyman get in charge, and So I think it may very well be, if it is that's what they were thinking, I think they might actually be right. For once, you had to give them some props with the economic planning, but with the political.
I do have that much
strategizing.
I don't have that much faith in the Democrats, to be honest with
you. I hear that, but I mean, they're not stupid. They can't all be stupid, and they must have known that this would have made him far more popular. And if it made him far more popular, then I don't understand why we trying to do that. If we think he's impossible to beat, so maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they're really afraid of Ron DeSantis, because I think the only way the Republicans could lose is if they run him again.
Right.
But they could drum up the same over. Yeah, he's a racist. He's a this or the other. And they could rely on people to hate him so much. And say, I don't. That man is a dottering idiot. But I'd rather him than this crazy man.
That's racist.
Yeah, it's racist and January 6th.
And
January 6th.
xenophobe.
Yeah, and then if he wins, you know, we could always, you know, put the specter of he does thief. He's a man with teeth. He's a man with, you know what I mean? And we could always, he's an illegitimate president again, and you know, whatever. You know what I mean? So I think the only way the Republicans could lose is if they run him again. So maybe in that case, maybe they're right. All right. So the last thing, is the last thing? I think so. We might look it up after this, but I had to touch on this because I think is these days you can't help but feel like we in the midst of a crisis. We seem to constantly be in crisis mode. There seems to be something happening every single day that is unprecedented. That seems like it's going to bring down the whole system. It seems like, you know, we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. We have war, we have energy crises here and there. We don't know what will be the world reserve currency. Is this going to be a unipolar world, a bipolar world? Is it, you know, what's going to happen? Is our banks going to collapse? Is there going to be CBDC? All of that, right? And on top of that, we have the advent of AI.
Right.
Or at least, you know, the advent, because AI has been around for a while. But we are now in a we now start to really start asking the question, are we going too fast? Right? So last week, an open letter was written asking for people to put a pause on AI development until we could put a plan together on how we're going to regulate it, and make sure we understand how it's going to affect the world. So I'll read a little bit of the letter. The letter was signed, I should say, by some very notable people, Elon Musk being one, right? AI experts, technologists, and business leaders are among the 1,000+ petitioners imploring AI labs to pause training of systems more powerful than GPT-4. That's we're not talking about it just now.
What was that? ChatGPT?
ChatGPT, yes. ChatGPT-4, right? The open letter was published on Wednesday by the Future of Life Institute, a non-profit for mitigating risks of transformative technology. The list of signees include Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak, SpaceX, Tesla, and Twitter CEO Elon Musk, Stability AI CEO Imad Mostak, Executive Director of the Center for Humane Technology Tristan Harris, and Joshua Benju, the founder of AI Institute Mila. Right? A little bit of that. Advanced AI could represent a profound change in the history of life on Earth and should be planned for and managed with commensurate care and resources. Unfortunately, this level of planning and management is not happening, even though recent months have seen AI labs locked in an out of control race to develop and deploy ever more powerful digital minds that no one, not even their creators, can understand, predict, or reliably control. I don't know if you saw, is watch this Lex Friedman.
Yeah, I watch him every now and again.
He had the CEO of OpenAI as the company that develops ChatGPT, right?
You know, Elon Musk was part of that company too.
Yeah. He had him on the other day, and he was essentially admitting that this thing starts to move in directions that we can't predict, right? So he kind of said that they're losing control of their creation. Right now, this is all happening in the context of us making millions of movies about what could happen when this comes right? Companies like OpenAI, Microsoft, and Google have been charging full speed ahead with their generative AI models, fueled by ambitions to corner the AI market. New advancements and product releases are announced on an almost daily basis. But the letter says it's all happening too fast for ethical, regulatory, and safety concerns to be considered. We must ask ourselves, should we let machines flood our information channels with propaganda and untruth? Should we automate away all the jobs, including fulfilling ones? Should we develop non-human minds that might even eventually outnumber, outsmart, obsolete, and replace us? Should we risk loss of control of our civilization? The open letter is calling for a 6-month pause on AI experiments that should be developed only once we are confident the effects will be positive, and their risks will be manageable. It recommends that AI labs should use this time to collectively develop safety protocols that can be audited by third parties. If they don't pause, governments should step in and impose a moratorium. All right, that's essentially it there, right? That's the suggestion. That's the fear. What do you think?
Yeah, so the thing is, I understand that it getting wild. I agree that it getting wild, but I also think it's kind of hard to stop people because when they get into that them kind of scientific games, if you want to call it that, technological games, it's a race. It's a race every day, you understand what I'm saying? And everybody trying to outdo the next one. And, I mean, to kind of tell somebody, stop racing, stop running the race, you understand what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, we've done that before. We've put the pause on certain types of transformative technologies in the past. We did it with the development of the internet. We kind of, hey, whoa, we don't know where this is going, so pause on the infrastructural development. We've done it with other forms of technologies. It's slipping my mind now.
But the thing is it that technology has gone so far, if you understand, it makes it harder to stop. Because you can go and say, you're stopping that, but something like that is something that could run in the background or something that nobody knows.
Well, yep, okay. All right, but the thing is, you won't develop it if you can't deploy it. ChatGPT, if ChatGPT is banned from operating in the United States or any other major country, they're not going to develop it because well, they could develop it, they'll continue developing it, but they can't deploy it, right? If we could control what they deploy, what they have, what is used by the average individual, you can't control that. So it is possible to pause it. It is possible to. No, you can never stop them from working on it, but you could stop them from deploying it.
Openly deploying
it. And unless they can openly deploy it, there's no incentive to deploy it because OpenAI is free. You can use ChatGPT for free, right? The purpose of it obviously is to get, just like social media and all those things, to get people on, utilizing it, and then it becomes valuable in and of itself. So they're trying to build up their user base. If you can't do that, then what's the point, right? I'm just wondering because there's always the argument that the government shouldn't step in to stop these things. You cannot stop the progressive move forward in technology. When the printing press came out, people quarreling you should ban that. But look, we all became used to it. I don't buy any of those arguments when it comes to AI. Because AI, I don't think it's like any of those things. I think to compare to the printing press, and the advent of the internet, that's completely stupid.
Dog, you hear a man do a song and kind of use Jay-Z voice.
Right, yeah.
You heard it?
Yes.
No, to be fair, if you're an avid rap fan, you'd kind of realize, because it sounds like older Jay-Z, it doesn't sound like recent Jay-Z, right? So you'll be like, there's a new song, the Jay-Z song, and kind of like, 21-year-old, 22-year-old Jay-Z.
Yeah.
But that's
no, but I mean, but that is not even widespread. The ability to do that is not widespread, right? Because I mean, AI did 4 songs. They did one from dead people, Alanis Morissette. I think they did one of Jimi Hendrix, where they reproduced music sounding like them, completely AI generated. And that was a good while. That could be about 4 or 5 years ago. I was on radio. I played a bit of the song on radio, but things like ChatGPT is doing now and putting in the hands of everybody is. Like, for instance, in talking about music, ChatGPT is going to be writing songs just now.
Yeah. I mean, writing songs now.
They write songs now, yes, right? I asked it to write a soca song, pretty shitty. But, I mean, it could be the foundation. Songwriters will soon not have a profession because everybody... all right, let me see. I'm pretty sure... In the next iteration, it will be much better, right? Well, at first I told it to write a soca song. Wrote the song, was neither here nor there. But then I said, okay, I wonder if I could get it to mimic a certain artist. And I feel, right, I asked it to write a song, name of the song was Soca Rhythm Fever. Came up with that, it generated the name. Verse number 1, feeling the rhythm, it's deep in my soul. I can't help but move my feet, lose control. The beat is so sweet, it's like music to my ears. I feel the energy, it's washing away my fears. The chorus, soca music, it's the rhythm of the island, makes me feel alive, feel the passion. Let's dance together, let's lose our minds. Soca music is the rhythm of the good times, right? Now, you might say, that's pretty shitty, right? But really and truly, soca lyric, if you
deliver that on a proper beat, it could catch.
People wouldn't notice you singing penny rhymes. But because I'm sure if you break down many soca songs, very popular soca songs, penny lyrics, right? So then I say, okay, well, ask it to write it. So, and I don't even know how to use the prompts properly yet, because I only started using this like 2 weeks ago, right? So I'm sure if I could perfect the prompts, I could probably get better results, right? So next I asked it, I said, you will write a soca song in the style of Bungie Garlin. No, this does not sound anything like Bungie Garlin, right? But it did jump up and wave, everybody move, feel the rhythm, feel the groove, Bungie Garlin on the mic, make sure the party hype. Soca music, sweet soca music, sweet soca music, let the music take over, jump up high, feel the beat, let's get lost in the heat, right? Verse number 2, the bass is pumping, the crowd is jumping high. No, anyway, this one was more intricate with the rhyming, which could tell you're trying to be more like Bungie. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Men gonna be like, I ain't not gonna pay you no money to write no song. And you know what he's saying? Because if something is AI generated, how you go copyright it?
Right, yeah.
So if you AI generate your song, your lyrics for your song, I could probably take the lyrics and I could lift the lyrics and sing it how I want. Because the lyrics is all I'm using. I'm not using a beat or your melody. And I don't have to pay a writer. The writer that only writes these songs. AI is not a person.
Right.
So that can own no rights to nothing.
Right.
So what we go songwriters for? What we go producers for? Because it was pretty sweet.
Yeah, because if they could make pictures, they can make beats.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And okay, ChatGPT is free, but they'll probably come with a premium version where you can input audio and you can input. So, is it that actors going to lose their jobs because we could just do AI generated images that look like live action? Just like we could make AI generated images of videos that are completely fake.
Yeah.
And so we could mimic voices. We could, So what's going to happen? So we don't want to pause that at all. We don't want to pause that to figure out what's going on now. How are people going to be assessed for professions like medicine when children are just going to utilize this?
The handing papers.
I was watching a video, doctor guy that I was following during the COVID thing. He was talking about how he's an oncologist, and he was saying, what he would do is he took patient files, and he developed his own treatment profile, put it aside, and then input the information in ChatGPT, and it gave him in many cases, almost identical treatment plans. Almost identical. So we're not gonna need oncologists soon. And if we could do that for actual human being, imagine we could do it a test paper. Mad, bro. So then we're not gonna pause and figure out how we gonna make sure that people passing medical exams can actually know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Oh, and then would medicine cease to be something that you need to have expertise in to perform? Now, the thing I was telling who I was talking to, I was about to say my wife, but I think it was a guy. But anyway, I was saying one of the things I think ChatGPT can do, and it probably might do, if you're looking at it from a positive standpoint, is that it'll probably mean that people who are supposed to be in particular professions more of them would end up there. Because, for instance, take law. Now, if a lot of people, when they hear you, if you're argumentative or you're good at formulating arguments and so on, yeah, you should be a lawyer. But the reality is that 99% of being a lawyer is not that.
Right.
Right? Is reading briefs and proofreading people. There's a lot of people pushing, research, all that kind of shit. Now, you could be very, very good at formulating argument strategy. You could be an excellent trial lawyer, but you hate doing those things or don't have the temperament to do those things. So you just move away from law. But now if AI is doing all that, and all you are really there to do is you are coming up with the argument strategy. You are, talking in court. You are, litigating. You are negotiating. If it's transactional law, you are the person negotiating for the other attorney or lawyer, whatever. That's the part of it that you actually have a skill for and a passion for. The paperwork, you really want to do that shit.
Right. So you get that to do it.
So, right. Now maybe medicine might actually have people who have the temperament to be good doctors. Because I don't need somebody who could recall a lot of information and the kind of person with the scholastic ability to make it through med school. I don't need all of that. Because a robot will tell me all the information that I need that for.
Well, which I know what to say, I think that could help cure things too. That could, because this is now, because ChatGPT is supposed to be pulling information from plenty places that different information from, because as it stands right now, let me take that out of the equation, right? Sometimes, let me give you an example. One of my exes, she had lupus in the early in Trinidad and Tobago, right? And when she keep going by all different doctors, hospital, wherever. And it was an Indian doctor. When I say Indian doctor, I mean a doctor from India.
Yeah.
Right?
Indian nationality.
Right. Yeah. And would have been exposed to that outside.
Right, yes.
Right?
Yes.
Who was able to say, hey, I feel it's this. Test this, test this, look. And she would tell you, and plenty of people who are lupus would tell you, I did interviews on radio, I think with the Lupus Society and thing, right? And they would tell you plenty of people die from lupus from not being diagnosed in time.
Yeah.
Or not even being diagnosed sometimes, right? Yeah. And so now, and that's because plenty of doctors didn't know about it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. And some of them do have the temperament or the humility to research.
Right.
To okay, this is a strange case. I think I should let me consult, let me call, no. They're arrogant and they ship it.
Yes, this. It just says this.
Exactly.
And anybody who have been by doctors long enough know that doctors are real do that.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's this.
Yeah.
Take this and it still will fix the problem. So I think it could work in things like that, because now we have a huge database, worldwide database, to kind of, and I mean, if you have any sense, obviously you're not saying to be a doctor with no experience, with no knowledge, right?
Yeah.
So if you input the information, they come up with this and they say, it could be this or is this.
Right, yeah.
You could say, nah, let me check again.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So
but more, I hear what you're saying, but more importantly is now you could have the people who have the right temperament, who have the emotional intelligence, and who may have the soft skills needed to actually be a good doctor, but maybe they don't have the stick-to-itiveness to go through med school to get to that point, because a lot of going through med school is a lot of what makes med school difficult is that they are challenging, because you need to be somebody that is able to process a lot of information at one given time, and you need to be able to call on a lot of knowledge to be able to make decisions in a medical situation. So you need to make sure that you can cram all that information into your brain. You may be weak at that, but you may have the actual temperament and the soft skills and the curiosity and the interest to be a wonderful doctor.
So,
but you're locked out because you can't do the other thing. But now the robots are doing the other thing.
So then, is it that the people who sign in this petition, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't, just a question, is it that they are afraid that the advantage that they have could now be taken away?
I doubt that. I mean, you think Elon Musk is afraid that, AI is going to equalize everybody? He's the richest man in the world. He's going to be in wherever developments, he'll be in control of. You understand what I'm saying? He is. I mean, listen. I'm not one of those people that I don't want to. I don't put him up on a pedestal. I don't think he's some sort of billionaire philanthropist. But he doesn't strike me as the kind of person who's worried about another company taking. He has his drives, his motives. He want to go on Mars. He want to, I think he wants to use AI as much as he can to get to Mars. He knows those things.
To be fair, AI would fix self-driving and thing in his car.
Yeah, he works on AI. He's not. But what he's saying is, listen, we need to make sure that we are in control of this at all points in time.
Yeah, but that's it. We. Is it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We. This team. We team.
Well, okay, right, yes, that is a possibility. But but I think if that is his desire, I think that would be very it'd be very easy to realize that that's what he's doing. And many of these other people, Steve Wozniak, I don't think he's involved in any of that too. The guy from the AI Foundation, that's their role. He doesn't have a company that he's trying to, to make sure. And to be fair to Elon Musk, he's been talking about this for over a decade. You know what I mean? So he's really been blowing the horn on, hey, we need to make sure we're in control of this thing. Whatever we're doing, we need to control it. We need to ensure that we're in control. And yes, the some people are going to say, oh, he's just doing that so that he will come up with he want to pause open AI's advancement so that he could be the one in control. All right, okay, that may be, but he's still making a valid point. I still think that we need to make sure we know what's happening.
You see, the thing is, I find this so funny, and I don't want to get too much into this because it's supposed to be a quick hit. Because like people like Elon Musk and them, right? Elon Musk and them is real to see how many own a Tesla, dog. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Them don't have real control over what you could do with your car, what you can do with your kind of. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like you want to have some degree of control, but you don't want people to have control. You understand what I'm saying? So you want this to be controlled, right? So now you're feeling like it's more control over because you want to have this control, right? But then when I buy a car from you, I can have the control on my car. You want to be the person, you understand what I'm saying, in control on my car. So it's like to me it feels like
right. And what I'm saying is that may very well be true, but even if that's not the case, the point he's stating is still valid. It's almost like, okay, he may have his own underlying motives, but what he's saying isn't wrong, right? And so, okay, let's deal with making sure if it is his underlying motive, let's make sure he isn't. If we do pause, let's keep an eye on him on what he's doing, because it may be that he pausing because he wants to be ahead of the race, right? Okay. So we pause it and we keep an eye on him. But I'm not going to allow this thing to run wild because I want to spite him. Or I want to not give him what he wants. You understand? Nah, bro, if this thing is, because I like they were saying, is it that we want to automate away all jobs? Because people seem to think that every time I hear people dismiss the fears about AI, they say things like, AI it helps humans to complete tasks, not automate away, and we've always found a way to work around it, and automation has taken place before, we just retrain, and bro, this thing can take away everybody's job. Everybody. If you can no longer be an actor, again, if you want to be a content creator but you can't dance or you ain't funny, ChatGPT could be funny for you. AI could start to mimic the style of comedians.
Some comedians would argue that and say what it needs to be able to learn fast enough in the scenario to change its tone to know.
Well, like stand-up comedy.
Right, yeah.
Well, we talking about content creation here. That's what I'm saying. Like, nobody's going to have a job. Large companies that get hold of the AI would just churn out content that don't need you. You know what I'm saying? That could very well take place. If we have a situation where all the paralegals are no longer a thing. Because, like we say, we could automate away all of the shitty parts of being a lawyer. Right? Now, I still think you might probably, if courtroom law would still probably need to be practiced by human beings. Because I don't think any law will ever allow a jury to not be human.
Right.
Right? Because the point of a jury is to have the input of the public in the administration of justice. So they're never going to have an AI judge or at least, I shouldn't say never going to have, but I don't think people will ever allow there to be an AI judge and an AI jury. So you'll probably always need a human being to practice courtroom law. But like 95% of the transactional law that takes place,
corporate law and them kind of thing,
just done away with. The only thing you'll need lawyers for is for actual negotiations to deal with, you know, human beings. I'm going to negotiate with you. I'm going to use this tactic, whatever, right? People could probably demand that. But then what's going to happen with all those people who are, I want to say paralegals, it doesn't necessarily mean people who aren't qualified attorneys, but qualified attorneys who are acting like paralegals in many law firms and chambers across the country and across the world. What's going to happen with them? And they have, you know, if they've been graduated for 15, 20 years now, what are they going to do?
And then so the cars will start to drive themselves, the taxi drivers wouldn't be necessary.
Well, I mean, the thing with that is that the argument will always be they could always mandate that a human be behind the wheel.
No, but I think they'll eventually reach a point where they wouldn't need her, because if all the cars could talk to each other, if all the cars could talk to each other and talk to the street signs and the thing on the road, you wouldn't need a human behind the wheel.
No, but that would be a long time.
Yeah, that would be a while from now. But
and also, I still think they could mandate that, because like right now, planes could fly themselves, but they still have a pilot behind, because if human intervention is required, if there's any failure, they will always probably say, yo, you should be there. And you shouldn't be asleep. You shouldn't.
But you know, one of the things Elon Musk himself has said is that these cars would be able to drive better than humans.
True.
And he have been saying when these cars become fully autonomous, they're going to have much less accidents on the road.
Right.
So that's why I could see eventually that trying to be the direction they want to go.
But yeah, what I'm saying is they will probably say, yes, it will drive better than a human being. It's good that it could be hacked. The system could fail. It could have an electrical malfunction. So you need to be behind the wheel. Somebody must be behind the wheel. And you can't be asleep. Right? They'll probably make it illegal if you're found asleep behind the wheel. They probably have sensors.
Right now they have cars with sensors that if your eye closed and things.
Right.
They have that right now.
Right. So
and if your pressure change and your seat and whatever, it's that right now.
Right. So exactly. So they'll probably always require somebody be behind the wheel. But truck driving and things, they'll probably, because like I say, it's the same. I always make the argument, planes can fly themselves, but we still have pilots. Right? Well, I mean, to an extent, planes can drive themselves, and you could easily automate it so that nobody even has to pull the lever, right? So the point is, the fact is, the pilot isn't doing all the work physically flying this plane everywhere, but we still have somebody there because in case of any malfunction, we don't want that kind of situation. So, but if it reaches that stage, you may have no taxi drivers completely, and taxi driving might become such a tortuous job now. And nobody will want to do it because I had to sit and be alert when this car is doing all the work. And 99.99% of the time I'm not going to fail. But I have to keep my eyes open and operate like if I'm driving to make sure that, you know, like a normal truck driver, he has to pay attention on the road and, you know, because he's driving. But if the trucks drive themselves and I'm just here like,
and then that's the thing, you might be falling asleep because you're not actually interacting. And then you get a ticket for falling asleep.
Yeah. So you're probably like, I don't want to do that work. Yeah. I don't want to do that work. So anyway.
Yeah, this is where you gotta wrap it up for this week. I don't know. Head to
we get people a little extra because we missed them last week.
Yeah, so you head to the YouTube video and let us know how you feel about AI.
Yeah. If we should pause on that. It's a serious thing, bro. It's not, and it's upon us. It's upon us now. This is not, we're not talking about 25 years in the future. No, it's upon us now. ChatGPT changing the game. And whatever version of that Microsoft developing, we haven't seen yet. Changing the game.
We out. Safe.